Hello. How's everyone doing? Another week, another episode. Actually, check that second episode of this week. We're back again. Stats Over Politics, episode number 44. Shaun alongside my guys, Kevin Dent, Jaevon, Toddy, I saw you getting some smooches in the pre-show right there. Don't think that was missed. I saw that from the baby moms. Shout out, Soph. Yeah, we're back. Kevin Dent, Jaevon Toddy, Shaun Holko, Garry Singh will be joining us very soon. I seen that. I saw you leaning a little bit, leaning to the side, leaning to the other side. Gotta get the love from the baby mom. So that's awesome. Anyways, we're back with another episode of Stats Over Politics. And so, gentlemen, we got a lot to talk about this week because we didn't get much to talk about on Monday. On Monday, we had our special guest, Kevin Thompson. Excellent interview, in my opinion. Kevin went in depth about his entire journey from his childhood to high school, on to college, his 3 separate stops in college, onto the CFL and USFL. So if you didn't get a chance to check that episode out, make sure to check it out. You can find it on our Instagram. You can find it on all of our various podcast platforms. So I highly recommend that interview. Kevin, what is the favorite thing that you're going to talk about this week, or today, actually?
Man, the favorite thing I'm going to talk about today is probably going to be the Pac-12 falling apart, man. It's being a West Coast kid like all of us, you always grow up thinking, if I can play D1, I would love to play in the Pac-12. That's the West Coast school. Your family will be able to see you, so that's what we've grown up seeing. It used to be the Pac-10, so we've seen it change once, and now we're seeing it kind of crumble. So that's something I'm really looking forward to, and hearing what Toddy gets to say, because one team in particular is coming to the big boy conference. So it's going to be interesting to hear his thoughts.
Toddy, what are you most excited to talk about today?
Just getting back out there. We haven't really been able to talk sports like that, but we decided to cover all the topics that we kind of been missing. Curious to hear you guys' thoughts.
Exactly. So let's not waste any more time, guys. Let's get right into it. Gary will be here shortly, but we're just going to get things started. As Kevin alluded to, the Pac-12 is falling apart. Apparently, the ACC is next. And so, Jaevon, I'm going to throw it to you first because even though I am a Stanford fan, that is well documented, you are a passionate USC football fan. So much so that you proclaimed that Caleb Williams would be top 15 in the NFL right now. Even your own cousin who plays in the NFL had to disagree, but you feel passionately about that. And so what do you think about the Pac-12 falling apart and also your Trojans coming to, like Kevin said, the big boy conference?
Well, like I said, we're a big boy caliber organization, program. We're going to go to, where we feel like we can elevate ourselves. We thought that the Big Ten was the best conference to go to. Obviously, it's a very prestigious conference. You got Michigan, you got Penn State, you got Michigan State. Oh, wait,
He's trying so hard.
State. Ohio State is also in the conference, too. I forgot about them. No, USC saw this a long time ago. There's just been a lot going on with the Pac-12 and just conference realignment, money, Apple, which was the particular deal that they had in place for the Pac-12. It was basically subscription-based from what my understanding was. The Pac-12 had a deal in place with Apple that kind of coincided with all of the schools in the Pac-12 saying, hey, we got this deal in place, but originally they had a deal with ESPN that they turned down that basically locked them in $30 million per school. Pac-12 commissioner was looking to get $50 million, and they thought that, hey, we can go out and make something else happen. We can get a better deal, basically. And that deal was ultimately pulled by ESPN. And now USC, we saw it a mile away, okay? We saw it a mile away. UCLA saw it a mile away, like, hey, so we ain't got no deal. Like, we're supposed to be getting renewed, and everybody else is locking in their TV deals, and Pac-12 is kind of just standing around, kind of with their dicks in their hands, like, hey, what are we doing?
Reference.
And then, USC saw this a mile away. We already got the schedule for next year. We're about to be in the Big Ten. Everything's kind of set for us next year. And now it's kind of just like, okay, all these Oregon, Utah, there's only 4 teams left. So, everybody else is pretty much like, hey, Deion saw it was like, what's going on with the TV deal? Something ain't right. And then, when Deion hasn't even played it down or hasn't even coached it down in the Pac-12 and is already trying to leave, that's kind of, I thought, when, things started to roll a little bit. And then, we saw Oregon is also joining the Big Ten as well. So when you start seeing schools like those powerhouse schools in the Pac-12 as well that are also joining the Big Ten, joining the Big 12, Utah, our rival, as Kevin and Shaun want to say.
They're not rivals. They whip your ass.
Okay.
It's not a rivalry if one team wins all the time.
They're also going to the Big 12. So the Big 12 I kind of thought was starting to die a little bit, but then they started kind of accumulating most of the Pac-12 schools. And it's just started absorbing them. And then you're hearing rumors about the ACC, Florida State. They partnered with JP Morgan, a.k.a. Chase. That's Chase. They're trying to raise some money to ultimately leave the ACC. I think we already heard that Clemson is kind of, in the midst of leaving the ACC as well. But it's kind of just a matter of when versus where. They're going to end up leaving too. But I feel like FSU and Clemson, they kind of feel like SEC type schools because they're already in the South, have playing LSU and, then playing them again. And then last year going all the way down to the wire, the final extra point, LSU, Florida State. So it just kind of seems like they would be meant for the SEC. Clemson, having those battles with Alabama and LSU in those national championship games, it kind of just feels like they would belong in the SEC. Not too sure where those two schools would join next, but I mean, the remaining schools left are Cal, Washington State, I think Oregon State, and Stanford. Stanford is an Olympic program. They breed Olympic athletes from swimming, track, and they're a very prestigious school. So it's like all the Brainiacs go there. They're basically the West Coast Harvard. So it's kind of like I feel like they wouldn't be pressed for cash if anything like that. As far as athletics go, I feel like Cal is a more team that would need to be probably a part of a conference. I feel like Stanford, if it really came down to it, they could be independent, but at the same time, they would probably like to join a conference. It's kind of looking like the ACC is going to absorb Cal and Stanford from the reports that I've been seeing. But as far as, the rest of the teams, Oregon State, Washington State, where are they going to go? Are they just going to join the Mountain West? I mean, that's kind of, it's not the best conference, but I mean, they need someone to throw them a life jacket. So I feel like the team left in the Pac-12, well, the Pac-4, Stanford is probably the least, they have options. I feel like they could go here, they can go there, or they can kind of just do whatever they want, kind of like what Notre Dame does. But I feel like the rest of the three schools are kind of looking for a conference to throw them a life vest and, save them, essentially. So USC is good. That's all I know. I really can't wait for them to be in the Big Ten and, get to play all of these top schools. It could help them with recruiting, just them being on, bigger platforms than the Pac-12 was able to provide. The Big Ten is arguably, or it is the second best conference, I believe, in college football. So why not be able to be on that stage?
Now joining us is our guy, Garry Singh. Garry, how are we doing today? Not this week because we're back for 2 episodes, but how are we doing today on this Friday?
Chilling, my guys. Ready? A little beautiful day, beautiful Friday. Let's get it.
And so, as Jaevon mentioned, Oregon and Washington, they're going to join the Big Ten. Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah are going to the Big 12 in 2024. That leaves Stanford, Cal, Oregon State, Washington State, Florida State. They're looking to leave the ACC for more revenue because they're seeing how much more the powerhouse programs and other conferences like the SEC and Big Ten are getting. And so, Kevin, after all of that, I simply ask you, what the fuck is going on in college football?
Dude, I have no idea. I've been talking to everybody I can about this, scrolling through Twitter. These are some of the best rivalries in football. When you look at Oregon State, and Washington State, like those are traditional rivalries that have been going on since we can remember. So them not joining the Big 12 as well is kind of interesting. Like Toddy mentioned, we saw USC and UCLA say, all right, if we're leaving, we're going together. So it's interesting to see that these rivalry games might not be played anymore unless, they catch each other in a bowl game or off or out of league schedule. But this is going to be crazy because I mentioned before the show, being a Pac-12 kid our whole life, being on the West Coast, this is all we see, this is all we know, and now things are changing. But definitely out of the best team or the remaining teams, I think Stanford has the most to give to a conference. Like Toddy mentioned, they breed all kind of athletes. So I think they're going to be the best addition. Cal hasn't had too good of a season. Oregon State is on the come up. Last year they did really well, and I believe Toddy sent us a list, and I believe they're in the top 25. I don't know where in the top 25.
Oregon State?
Yeah,
they are.
Yeah, so they're somewhere in there, but they did really well last season. They got DJ. I'm not even going to try to announce his name.
Uiagalelei, that dude?
Uiagalelei.
Yeah, that guy. So they're going to be really good this year. So if they're going to be another good addition to another one of these Power 5 conferences, it would really hurt me to see Washington State not be in a Power 5 conference. Toddy mentioned the Mountain West. So it would be really interesting to see. It would be really sad to see him or see them go, but I'm ready to just kind of see where this all kind of unfolds.
Garry, I know that you're not a big college football guy, but I mean, this is kind of crazy. We almost seem like we're headed to 2 super conferences in college football and maybe even eventually just 1. So what are your thoughts on this situation?
Like you mentioned, Shaun, me just being a novice and casual watching college football, I just been kind of sitting back and looking how everyone has different perspectives, to be honest. Like you guys mentioned, people who are like locked in and want, the old ways to stay. And then some people like Vaughn kind of mentioned where like new rivalries and new big time matchups are going to be created due to all this movement in the college football ranks and in other sports as well. So to be honest with you, I think it's a good thing. I know, like Kev just mentioned, losing that nostalgia of those big rivalry games is probably going to be big impact, especially for those schools that really look forward to that to be a big moneymaker for them. But in terms of just the overall moves, I feel like each team is kind of doing the best they can for themselves, and which makes sense. And it makes sense in college because, to be honest, like we all know, they don't have a CEO or something like that. They don't have someone who's control like an Adam Silver or a commissioner really that's control all of them. They can make a joint decision. So they're kind of all on their own. So I kind of understands how these are just purely being made as business moves. And I think it's going to be good overall at the end of the day for each of these schools because, like you guys are mentioning, I think it's, in my opinion, even though it might be dwindling down certain conferences that we love, obviously being, like you guys said, the West Coast kids, Pac-12 has always been the main thing out here. But I think just us joining these other big conferences is going to help us maybe bring some better athletes and better competition and just overall better games to the college football spotlight. So I feel like that's the main thing. I feel like that's pretty good for the sport. And to be honest with you, I can't wait to see how it develop and change. I know Shaun just mentioned maybe one day it might become one big old conference. I always thought that as a kid. I was like, why didn't they just make a big old conference? They all just play each other. But now looking, obviously, when I'm older, kind of noticing just the logistics of all that, and maybe also because of just the competitive natures. Some things are just unfair matchups. So it's going to be interesting how these schools react and how recruiting changes and how those dynamics change. But overall, I think it's going to be a good thing for college sports.
Jaevon, I want to pose this question to you in this way, just to continue this discussion here, because before all of this madness, the big talk with college football was whether or not they were going to expand the college football playoff, going from 4 teams to 6 or to 8, maybe even to 12, 16. 12 seems to be the best number in my opinion, because then you give those top 4 seeds a bye, you get 8 other teams in there, they all duke it out, and then the winners from those 4 games end up facing the top 4 seeds and likely get annihilated, but at least they got a shot and they have no reason to complain, like a Central Florida in previous years that went undefeated but missed out. They could get clapped in the college football playoffs, so then they don't have shit to say, just like Cincinnati as well from a couple years ago. And so how do you think all of this fluctuation is going to affect the college football playoff going forward, Jaevon?
Even going back to what you were saying, when Alabama played Washington, I think it was the first year of the college football playoff, and they got destroyed by Alabama. We're going to see a lot of teams that, probably in weaker conferences, they might go undefeated and they'll win their conference and they'll go up against a SEC team and get thraxed by 3 touchdowns. They'll probably be a 3-touchdown dog in that game. As far as the playoff goes, with conference realignment, I feel like it's going to start changing things a little bit, because a lot of conferences are now getting bigger and they're getting rid of, sub-conferences, that makes sense. So like the Big Ten is starting to get rid of the Big Ten like West or whatever, the Big Ten East. This is just going to be the Big Ten. So the top 2 teams of the entire conference are going to be playing in the Big Ten championship game, versus it would be usually, the best team from the Big Ten West versus the best team in the Big Ten East, and then they will play against each other. So now the conferences are getting bigger, they may want to consider going back to that same method just because of how big the conferences are getting. Like the Big Ten has 18 teams in it, which is insane. The Big 12, the Big 12 has 16 teams, if I'm not mistaken. So I think if they stick with how the conferences are currently, like the way that it's kind of set up already, it wouldn't really affect how the playoff would go now, because let's say you don't necessarily have to play in the Big Ten. You don't necessarily have to win your conference. Like Alabama last year didn't play for their conference championship or the SEC championship because they lost to LSU. LSU ended up playing Georgia, and then Georgia ended up ultimately destroying LSU. And they ended up playing, or Georgia ended up going, obviously, on to winning the national championship. But if LSU, that was kind of like a win or go home sense for LSU. Now, if LSU plays in that game, lose to Georgia, the number 1 team in the nation, they could still be in the national championship. They could still be in talks for a national championship game. Now, a lot of people are going to push back and say, hey, we just saw Georgia, Alabama play in the SEC championship. Why do we have to watch them play a month later in the playoff? The SEC, with it being the best conference that it is in the whole entire country, you're going to see a bunch of SEC teams in this 12-team playoff. You're going to see, Georgia, LSU, Alabama. They're going to dominate pretty much that 12-team playoff. You're going to see your Ohio State, your Michigans. You're probably going to now get some Pac-12 teams in there. That will be a part of the Big Ten, but you'll start to see teams like USC, Utah, Oregon will probably be in there. You'll see those type of teams who usually lose they don't win their conference and ultimately wouldn't be able to get into the playoff. So you'll start to see those other teams who played really well during the regular season, but probably slipped up, losing to a USC, losing to a Utah or a Washington. But you'll probably start to see those teams now and see, okay, what happens if they go up against this team? Now, ultimately, it could just be, hey, if they're going up against LSU, they're going to get trounced, right? 2 touchdowns. They're going to be 2 touchdown dogs. That's usually what it is when SEC teams usually play a Pac-12 team or when they play. Not so necessarily the case with Big Ten teams, because Big Ten teams are usually known to hold their own, and Ohio State ultimately ended up beating Alabama in, I think it was the first playoff ever, if I'm not mistaken, in 2014.
Damn right. Don't forget it.
When they had Zeke, Michael Thomas, all those guys. So
oh my God.
It's going to be
getting up to go get this stuff.
Yeah, you're gonna. This is crazy. So you're going to see a lot more. You're going to see a lot more different teams who we thought that were top teams in the conference, as Shaun is showing us is Ezekiel Elliott jersey, who does not have a team, by the way. He's not signed by anybody in the league.
Hey, he's a national champion forever.
He's showing off his Ezekiel Elliott jersey, but we're going to see a bunch of these teams like, Penn State will probably be in there. We'll see, obviously Ohio State. We'll see all the best teams in most of the conferences, like the 3 best teams or 4 best teams in each conference will probably be in that 12-team playoff. And we'll get to see what the 4th best team in the Big Ten looks like versus the 4th best team in the SEC. And that'll ultimately decide everything. But the crazy part that we'll probably lose, games that we'll lose is like the Rose Bowl we'll lose. I think we're going to lose the Cotton Bowl. So just those little bowl games,
Why do you
we'll
think
probably lose. They're getting rid of it. Like the Rose Bowl is not going to be
officially?
Yeah. Like the Rose Bowl is not going to be a part of anything. I think they also said the Cotton Bowl is not going to be a part of anything, like going forward with the 12-team playoff. So it's just going to be very interesting. A lot of people are kind of pushing back because conference realignment. I know I'm going in on a tangent a little bit, but a lot of people are kind of pushing back. A lot of people are going back on conference realignment just because, the tradition, we're getting rid of this. You don't think if USC and Ohio State is going on at night, no one's going to watch that? Or Michigan versus Oregon. These are going to be big games that are going to be on that. People are going to watch. I know it's sure as hell I'm going to be watching because I'm going to be gambling on the game. So you're going to see, I'm going to be locked in for sure. But I think these games are just going to get bigger and a lot of people are going to watch. And ultimately, it's a business. College football is a business at the end of the day. And they're trying to go wherever they can, display all of their talents and get the most money possible.
So, Gary, I want to ask you next because with our interview with Kevin Thompson's former Sac State quarterback on Monday, when I sent him the list of topics that we originally had planned, but we ultimately just went with the interview the whole time. But one of the topics was this topic with basically college football, Pac-12 falling apart. And he said that he might not have too much to say about it. But I instantly thought to myself, I was like, okay, I want to get his athlete perspective on it. Because the thing is, and we see it a lot more with other sports, and I've mentioned it before with like softball and tennis and whatever, that now all of these athletes who thought that they committed somewhere and they'll be able to play close to home, like someone who came from California, went to Oregon and thought that they were going to be playing against teams all on the West Coast. Now, if their parents want to go see them play, Jaevon, they have to go to Michigan. And that's not ideal.
Yeah.
And so, Gary, just the question I have for you is just how do you think this could be? I don't want to say detrimental because that's me already giving my opinion on it, but how do you expect this to affect the student athletes and not just the football players?
Yeah, I did hear this earlier about how, like, since they're gonna be having longer travel, it's gonna affect a lot of these kids' schooling, because they might have to leave earlier in the week for games and things. That situation. To be honest with you, Shaun, I think the kids that signed their deal and they're already going to be in their school or they're already signed within these 2 years here. While obviously knowing the decision, I think it's just going to be that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Not everyone likes how COVID went down, and they're not going to like when your school's making deals for money. At the end of the day, that's what matters to these schools. So, in terms of classes, I guess you really if you really want to be a student athlete now, you're really gonna especially the athlete part of it, you're really gonna want to be locked in because some of these sports I kind of do feel bad sometimes because you come to a school to play a sport that you love and you're getting a free education with a part of it. But now, like, you still, if it's a sport, let's say softball, quote unquote, that doesn't really have a professional league out here in America that's, prime timing at the moment. So for like them, they're just getting, just getting a lot of sacrifice in school basically to go play these games, which, at the end of the day might not be the most beneficial if they can't get their schoolwork done. So I think there's going to have to be a way for obviously these schools that know that, the obviously school is one of the top priorities, obviously choosing where you want to go. So I think hopefully that's going to be a big development in this whole switch up for these schools that they can help these kids out and make sure they can still get their education, because we're looking at maybe the 1%ers who are going to make the league after the first 2 years in the NFL or maybe go to the NBA after the first year, things of that nature where, it's not going to really bother them at the long run. They're just there to really just get that 1 year and get to the league they want to get to. But, all these other athletes who are going for like the educational part and, getting that stuff paid for, it's going to be really tough for them. So I feel like it's going to be an adjustment period, but I think it's going to be overall figured out, to be honest with you, Shaun.
So, Kevin, we can just forget about the SEC because, like, this all started just for the sake of this discussion right now, because this all started with Texas and Oklahoma leaving the Big 12 and going to the SEC. I'm not really worried about the SEC because I still think that Alabama, Georgia, they're going to continue to dominate that conference. But bringing things closer to home with our fandom, Kevin, as Ohio State fans, Jaevon's team is now joining the Big Ten, and he is uber confident that they will continue to play well in the Big Ten when they can't even beat Utah. And so how do you think that this is going to affect the Buckeyes, Michigan, and the Behemoths in the Big Ten? Do you think that this is going to knock them down a couple notches, or do you think that they could continue to dominate just like I believe Alabama and Georgia will in the SEC?
I definitely believe Ohio State and Michigan will continue to dominate. USC is definitely going to bring a different touch to the offense. In the Big Ten, there's a lot more power run. It's not as spread out as technically the West Coast offense. I know it's really popular now, but that's really was made in USC, so that's what they do. They don't really play a lot of defense, as Toddy says, so they're a team that's going to come in there and put up a lot of points. So it's definitely going to shock the Big Ten. If you're not coming to play one night or one Saturday afternoon, you can get 50 put on your head. So there is definitely going to be a big change, but I definitely think the teams that are on top are going to stay on top. I really wouldn't know who would be the favorite in the third favorite in the Big Ten because usually always Ohio State or Michigan. So maybe USC can kind of fall into that third every year. But it's going to be hard for them, like Gary mentioned. These kids are used to the only place they're really playing in rain is Oregon. Now you got to go across the country to go play in a game. It snows in Oregon or Ohio State and Michigan. So they can play in the snow. So these kids are used to walking around campus with flip-flops and thong flip-flops, and now they're going to have to bring their Timbs out. So it's going to be interesting to see these West Coast kids come play on the East Coast and the same vice versa.
Unless anyone else has anything else to say about football, go ahead.
Kind of just another thing going into it is usually when teams lose a game, their season's over. With this new 12-team playoff, teams could lose 2, maybe even 3 games and still kind of be like, all right, we're still kind of in the mix. Because it's rare because one lost team getting in is over this 12-0 team. I feel like all that's going to get deaded now. And, teams could be playing in their third game of the season and lose and, our fucking season's over. Like, we have nothing else to play for. And we're going to play in the Cotton Bowl, this, that, and the third. I feel like now with this 12-team playoff, it still kind of gives teams a little bit more leeway. It may, kind of hinder whatever the meaning of conference titles, but at the same time, those teams that usually win the conference titles will usually be those top 4 teams that end up going in. So I feel like the system that we had in place before will now kind of, carry on a little bit with this 12-team playoff.
All right, gentlemen, now let's get to the NFL. And Kevin and Gary, you guys are going to have to suffer a little bit because we got some 49er topics here. So let's kick things off with the man who is on the graphic for today's episode, that being Nick Bosa, as he continues to hold out from 49ers camp. He's not the only elite defensive lineman to be holding out, as well as Chris Jones in Kansas City. Thank you, Jaevon. So, Toddy, what do you think about our guy, Nick Bosa, holding out right now?
Well, going on for Chris Jones, I don't know if he thinks he's getting more money than Nick Bosa or whatever he's holding up, or he's getting more money than Aaron Donald. I feel like he has to kind of find a middle ground between, top D tackles and, top defensive linemen, period, and kind of just find that middle ground. Because I do think Chris Jones is one of the best. I mean, the players ranked him one of the top. He's a top 20 player, so the players view him as one of the best D tackles, defensive linemen in football, for sure. But I think that he's going to have to find that middle ground between how much he truly believes he's worth. Now, as far as Nick Bosa goes, I'm not really worried about him not re-signing. We're kind of working out and ironing out all the details of him being the highest paid defensive lineman in the NFL history. So I feel like that's kind of where they're trying to figure out, all right, where you're at with here? Because the Niners are very tough negotiators. They always take forever to sign their guys. We usually always sign our guys, Fred Warner, George Kittle, and just those guys off the top of it. Deebo Samuel. Deebo requested a trade last year, for God's sake, and took him a while. He held in. He ended up showing up at least last year, but Nick Bosa, he's not really a practice guy, from what I'm told. Even Trent Williams, just all the top guys that you've seen or heard about, Pro Bowl guys, they usually always get contracts. So Nick Bosa, I'm not really too worried about him going off and not really getting signed. Like, he could hold out for all the way to the last preseason game, and I still wouldn't be worried. He'll be ready week 1 for sure. Just the way that he trains in the offseason, he's usually just always come back in looks like the best shape of his career, and that's every year he comes back. Even coming back from the ACL injury, I wasn't worried for him. And then him ultimately winning Defensive Player of the Year off of the ACL injury. And he just, he's the best defensive lineman in the world, in my opinion. So I feel like he's going to be this is going to take some time. I'm not really too worried about him not really getting a contract or him not signing or him trying to get traded or something like that. It's more just like little intricacy things within the contract, the language, all this, that, and the third that him and his agent are trying to work out. And he's probably going to he's going to become the highest paid. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if we see within the incoming weeks that, hey, Nick Bosa has just signed a massive deal. He's getting more than his brother for sure. Let's get that out of the way. He's definitely getting more than Joey. So I think that, Nick is just, trying to get as much money as possible, and the Niners are trying to give him as much money as possible, but trying to cover their ass in the end as well.
Well, Kevin, the 49ers, they signed ya boy, Javon Hargrave, this offseason to pair with a Nick Bosa, and now they may not have as much money to give Nick Bosa, potentially. I don't know the figures. I don't have them in front of me, so I could be wrong. But the Niners bring in Hargrave, and now it seems like they can't pay Bosa. So what are your thoughts as an Eagles fan, Kevin?
Just not even as an Eagles fan, as a fan of the NFL, like Toddy mentioned, last year it was Deebo. This year it's Bosa. It's always something. You guys always in the headlines. Someone's always holding out. Y'all need to get right over there. Your players aren't happy over there. Stingy over there with the money. Your players aren't happy.
This is what happens when you have too many elite players. It's what happens.
Hey man, you bringing in guys off of one good season, top 5 D lineman contract, but we're not going to go there. But so I'm here with Bosa, just like I was here with Debo last year with Toddy. When he was running up and down in some shorts, I was telling Toddy like, "Hey man, don't buy a 19 jersey." So it might be the same. It might be the same with the 97 jersey, man. He, like Toddy said, he's a reigning defensive player of the year. But I mean, when it mattered most, the only time he hit the big screen was when he got cleated. So he's definitely is going to be paid. Toddy mentioned him being the top D line or defensive lineman in general. I don't think so. I still think Aaron Donald is still going to be the best. He's still going to be the highest paid. I don't see
player of the year last year, but that's okay.
Okay, he was
Aaron
hurt though.
Donald
Come on
should
now, but when he's healthy,
retire.
yeah, that's
he's one of the best defensive linemen of all time. I'm not saying.
Okay, but I'm saying you can't say Bosa's the best when we still got Aaron Donald playing.
Right now, he is. That's
so I don't see them paying Bosa 32 a year. That's what they pay Aaron Donald 31 a year. So I don't think they're gonna pay
Defensive Player of the Year.
Hold on, Kevin. I'm sorry. We have to interrupt you because I just heard some blasphemy.
Oh my God.
This guy, the Steelers fan, Garry, just said TJ Watt has something to say about that. When we're talking about the best defensive lineman of all time. You didn't even you did not
defensive player of the year.
Right. You didn't even get the initials right because there's a 3-time defensive player of the year in his own family. It's JJ.
Yeah, I'm not talking about all time. I'm talking about right now.
Okay, good, sorry. JJ's retired. Sorry, Garry.
Talking about right now. We're talking about right now. Yeah, my guy's in that hat. My guy's in that hat. Come on now.
Bro.
Come on now.
But wasn't he injured last season though? Is that why we didn't hear from him? Is that why he was in like
the
18? He was like 18 or was he in the 20s, Kevin? I mean, Kevin and Jaevon, they are well versed on this NFL top 100 list. I could not give a shit. But TJ Watt, he's like 20 something, right?
He's up there.
He's definitely up there.
He's good. He's pretty good.
Due to the birth of Micah Parsons, he's probably now the 3rd best pass rusher in the league.
Okay.
He's up there. He's top 3. I just did. Shaun was acting like he's not even up there at all.
He's 3B, bro. He's 3B. Hassan Reddick, 3A.
Kevin, that's all I know. He's up there. Anyways, all right. So can I get my take on this, Shaun? Or are you ready? Or you want to say something else?
Shaun, pull up Hassan Reddick's numbers and just compare.
All right, I will. But just the reason why for audio only listeners, I was making a weird face, and it's because Kevin said that he would be 3rd. TJ Watt would be 3rd behind Micah Parsons. And then I would assume it's behind Nick Bosa. So you're just not going to include Aaron Donald on that list?
Edge rushers.
Oh, edge rushers. Okay.
No, Toddy the one said D-line.
I need to listen.
Toddy said complete D-line. That's why I had to get on them. But no, edge rushers, you got to put them up there.
Garry, go ahead. I'm going to work on my listening skills.
To be honest with you, at the end of the day, we all know they should pay this man. You already know, like, come on now. Like, if Vaughn, you guys know he's one. He could be potentially already Hall of Fame already. Could be already stamped already on that way. So obviously, they should pay Nick Bosa. At the end of the day, if you guys want to be really, keep that high level intensity for your guys' team, you guys have so much talent already. So that is obviously why you guys probably in a little stalemate.
Pro Bowlers everywhere.
Nick. No, you guys do. So that's what the roster is deep. So that's why it's probably in this predicament. But you don't, like I said earlier, you don't want to be stingy with guys like this who, change the whole game plan for the other opposite team. So he's a game record as well, just like I said, my guy Watt is too on my team. So I would just say you guys should pay them, man, just like we paid our guy. See, our teams pay our guys, Kev. These guys like to wait.
They're like the Cowboys now, man.
Piss them off and then try to get them. So,
they don't have guys at every single position to pay.
Look, Vaughn, your best player, you want one of your best players one of your best player has to wait till the week 1 to get paid. Like, come on, that's basically slap in the face. So if I was Bosa,
all the fines,
I wouldn't be mad to take a little, maybe a Debo type route if they keep playing with my money a little bit, to start itching to request something. So I don't know. I just hopefully just handle it soon. Just like obviously they're gonna handle Chris Jones. Like the Chiefs, just like kind of like the Niners in a way where. Well, they're still going to be good no matter what because they got Mr.
The Chiefs
Patrick
can
Mahomes.
wait, but the 49ers can apparently.
Yeah, because they have Patrick Mahomes. Exactly, yeah. That's pretty common sense, Shaun. Yeah, don't throw your hands up. They don't got the baby goat on their team. Yeah, exactly. They can't wait.
Is y'all better sign him before week 1 because Gary going to take y'all money. Bosa?
I hope he doesn't play Bosa.
At all. I ain't worried about that shit at all.
All right. Well, I can't wait to. Kev, I'm thinking I got invited, I think, to Vaughn's house to watch week 1 at his house, so that's going to be easy.
Yeah.
2 blue strips, some food, boom. Week 1
Gary's
football.
gonna be miserable at 10 a.m. in the morning.
10 a.m.
It's gonna be early. He's gonna be sick the entire day.
Oh, man.
Gary's about to be so miserable. He's about to start hitting those shots of water. But I mean, Gary, to be honest though, like
Y'all should already handle this though. What's the holdup though? That's really what I don't understand.
I don't see it as an insult. They're giving the man who has an injury history a whole extra month of vacation. He wasn't going to play in the preseason games anyways. It's all a formality.
I know. He can sit out and get paid still.
We don't pay our guys until the summer anyway. Like all these contracts happen.
It's summer. Summer's about to end.
I was like, summer's
Gary,
over.
The thing is,
Week 1's on the way.
People going back to school.
Gary, you say that they could. Gary,
Go ahead,
again,
John.
I'm working on my listening skills, so correct me if I'm wrong. But I heard you say that like they can pay him, but then he doesn't have to practice. Actually, NFL rules say otherwise, and he starts racking up those fines as he's doing right now. So like,
but he's a vet, so they're going to give him, obviously, like you just mentioned, him being injury prone. So obviously, they're going to give him leeway as one of the best players on the team not to practice. Shaun, that's not you know what I'm saying.
Not if he doesn't actually have an injury, because the NFL are sticklers about that. They're like,
so you think he's not playing? He's not getting. So they're not paying him because he's not playing. He doesn't want to practice.
No, I didn't say that. But for you to say that it's an insult that they're waiting to pay him when all he's missing out on
I'm the best
training
players on the
camp
team, and I'm waiting
preseason games.
He probably is the best player on the team.
How'd that work out last year?
What's
for the
waiting
Niners
for?
with Debo? How'd it work out last year with Debo?
Hey, bro, you were
Worked
sweating bullets all summer long. What are you talking about? The man went on and said, "Get me out of here." Y'all just lucky y'all didn't buckle up and y'all paid him. Y'all got some common sense. Like Kev said, y'all was almost about to start having the number 19 jersey on sale all over the internet.
Oh,
so
stop it.
At the
We're
end of the
not
day,
Lakers
you
fans.
barely. I know you guys were sweating bullets that this guy was about to leave last year, Debo. So
He might have been, but I stay level-headed. Jaevon, go ahead.
No, when Debo said that, you requested a trade.
Blue,
Came out of left field. I was very confused on what was going on. So, but then just going in and out, the trade or the I thought he was going to get traded if he were to get traded during the NFL draft, and then the draft came and went, nothing happened. I was like, oh hey, Debo's still on our team. So I feel like that kind of gave us time for to rework, mend the relationship, and give him what he was deserving. We got another guy coming up that's probably going to want some money. His name is Brandon Ayuk, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the group chat about this man named Brandon Ayuk between Kevin B and Shaun. But
I'll have $100 pretty soon to contribute to Brandon Ayuk's contract fund. I'll have that soon, Kevin.
I was hoping he said that because I wanted to let the world know that Toddy brought up the group chat. So we have to let them know about our bet. So, number 100 comes out, Devontae Smith. Toddy goes, Brandon Ayuk going to be better than Devontae Smith. I'm like, Toddy, watch your mouth. And then McLaurin was 90. So I said, Toddy, you're insane. Like, you don't want to bet. He goes, we could bet. I said, all right, we bet $100. So I'm like, all right, Toddy, how long we going to wait? This is a 4-day process. He's not better than McLaurin. So this is going to be a long process.
He's like, it was longer than that.
He said, I'm going to sweat it out till 30. 30 came out. It was all determined. I just wanted to let you know that.
Who was the 30th player? I think it was like Micah Parsons or like Christian McCaffrey or something like that. They start talking about guys like that.
Now, if it was skill players, definitely, but all players, 100's crazy.
A week. I feel like I'm a year too early for Brandon Ayuk as far as him making the top 100. But just going back to contract situation, he's just another guy on our team that we're probably gonna have to worry about paying because I think we had to pick up his fifth-year option. We picked up his fifth-year option, so he's another guy that he's going to be. Kevin and Shaun have a bet that Brandon Ayuk has over 1,000 yards, which I think is going to be easy because
easy money.
It's easy. He had 1,000 yards last year, and if you look at each year, he had like 700 yards, 800, 1,000 last year, and now he progresses every single year. So he's just another guy that we're gonna have to pay.
I thought that was gonna be an easy bet for Kev. Not easy. I thought for Shaun. I thought it was gonna be an easy one for Shaun. I'm not gonna lie, Kev, but I'm kind of leaning back Kevin's way on that one, Shaun, just because thought about it. You guys have Christian McCaffrey all year now, so y'all gonna run the ball way more. So I don't know if BA Brandon Ayuk is going to be having that many attempts as he
he's
had
taking-
last
he's
year.
taking
Even though
targets, too.
I know
He's
he
taking
was
targets,
injured
too.
last year, Shaun. So it's going to be that's a good bet right there. That's a good bet. You know, it looked like Shaun's not sweating bullets anyway on that one. He thinks he already has like $400 already he thinks he already got $400 this whole Super Bowl. Look at these guys. They think they already made so much money this year. It's going to be tough when that week one hits.
Gary,
is an annual thing.
There will be
Gary,
more
I
bets
do
throughout
not
the year.
I do not make dumb bets. I do not make bets with my emotions. So if I'm going to agree to a bet, I'm going to be like 75% sure that I'm going to win. There's that 25% chance that it doesn't go my way. But
75?
Yeah, 75.
Off of 1,015? That's one broken tackle, my guy.
One broken
I'm just saying, 75% is confident, Shaun. Now, 115, okay, but 15 yards, that's one missed tackle. That's that monsoon game. He got them 15 yards.
Well, Kevin, I'm glad as I bump my mic, I'm glad that you mentioned that because other 49ers news that just happened, and this is unfortunate, but this will help my wallet, is that 49ers wide receiver Ray-Ray McCloud broke his wrist and he's going to be out probably about 8 weeks, 2 months. And so, Gary, I know that you're not the 49ers fan here, but
you know about Ray-Ray.
Significant?
No, I mean, it is significant because I would
He's
say
the return specialist.
Also, was your third best receiver probably coming sliding in this year?
Fourth.
So, I mean, fourth option if you want to count Kittle, right? Or who are you counting as your top 3 wide receivers right now?
Jawan Jennings, our third receiver.
Okay.
Third and
So,
Jawan.
I mean, I guess, the injury bug has already started with these Niners again, starting from wide receiver position. So I guess it hasn't not been a problem for your team, Shaun, for the last few years. Injury bug,
I just hate the narrative. I mean, it's not wrong. I just hate the narrative.
I would hate it too because my team is injured all the time too. So, but at the end of the day, I don't think obviously it's going to be a main issue here. Hopefully the Ray gets better as soon as possible. It can help contribute to this team. You don't want to see guys get hurt, especially before the season even starts. To be so honest with you, that's like the worst injuries, like right before the season starts. It's just a heartbreaker for the team and the player. But at the end of the day, you guys, like we mentioned earlier, you guys got a lot of depth in all these positions, and you guys have a great coaching staff. It's not like you guys are. You guys play a different style where it's going to be, smart offense all the time. So, I'm not really too worried if you guys losing any weapons. So, still worried about who's going to be under center. Oh, I'm not worried. Let's just say how he's going to do under center. There you go. That's all I'm worried about here. But that's all. Go ahead, Kev. What you think about these Niners issues over here?
Man, ain't no one worried about Ray-Ray McCloud. I mean, I know he was the special teams guy, so that kind of hurts. But like Gary said, we're going to get a full year CMC. So now we're really not going to see a third option like Jennings, really make an impact. So I'm like, we're all really, or not all of us, the two of you guys are really expecting a big year from Ayuk. We have Debo, we have Kittle. So I don't really think there's really a lot of room for another option. So it really hurts for the Niners, I guess. But from an NFL standpoint, I don't think Ray-Ray was really on a lot of people's scout reports.
Jaevon, what's your level of concern, 1 to 10?
I think we'll be okay. We got guys like Danny Gray that could step up. Jawan Jennings, we saw. Christian McCaffrey is just another, receiver essentially. Already have Debo, Ayuk, Kittle. Just guys like that will just be able to step up. I think we'll be fine. I feel like it'll hurt us a little bit more in the return game. We'll see, probably Danny Gray. I think Ronnie Bell was taking snaps at punt return, kick return, so we'll see a little bit of him. Preseason, got the Raiders this Sunday, so we'll see how that goes. But I don't think this destroys us as a wide receiver room. Ray-Ray's like our fourth best receiver, I think. I think he's very explosive. He shows signs of being able to have 80-yard runs last year. Return to kick return last year for a touchdown. So we'll miss that explosiveness in the kick return game, but I feel like as far as our receiving core goes, we'll be all right.
All right, so now the news of today is that presumed number 1 QB for the Niners, Brock Purdy, he threw 3 interceptions in a joint practice against the Las Vegas Raiders. And Trey Lance is scheduled to start on Sunday. So, Jaevon, I'm going to toss it right back to you. Again, level of concern, 1 to 10 for Brock's interceptions. And also, how do you feel about Trey getting the start on Sunday?
It's not ideal. Throwing 3 picks in game or in the practice gives me Jimmy vibes, and Lord knows.
What if the Raiders just have a good defense?
Yeah, they gave us fits last year.
Jimmy was throwing picks like it was nothing. Now Brock's throwing picks like it's nothing. It could be the Raiders defense.
Man,
I don't
Brock
know.
and him
Purdy
same.
just trying to get back into the swing of things. Coming off that UCL injury, we'll see. This is like his first kind of like live reps. Kyle Shanahan said he cares more about the joint practices than the actual preseason games, apparently. Brock Purdy didn't play too well against the Raiders in the second joint practice today. As far as Trey Lance goes, he's getting time since this is his first start since the Cardinals game last year, or the Seahawks game last year, where he ultimately ended up breaking his ankle. So we'll kind of get to be able to see him. It kind of just seems like Brock has just been like, all right, he's a starter. It's not really a competition. It's kind of Brock's team kind of to lose unless injury happens or something else happens. Knock on wood if you're with me. But Trey Lance gets the start. It's kind of him battling with Sam Darnold for number 2. We'll see what he looks like. He played pretty well in the preseason last year, or all the preseason games that he usually plays in, he usually plays pretty well. So, albeit it is against number 2s and number 3s, but we'll see him, running with the ones. I don't even know if all of our starters are playing, to be honest. Looks like he's probably going to be running with.
I know who's not playing.
Brock Purdy?
Bosa.
Yeah, okay.
He wouldn't have played anyways. But
he wouldn't have played anyway, but that's okay. But, yeah, I think, Trey, we just want to see what he looks like. He needs more reps. Trey hasn't really played a full season since 2019. Lord knows how long that was. It feels like eons ago. But just him just being able to get the start, he just needs reps. I think he's going to play the entire first half, if I'm not mistaken. So he just needs as much reps as possible.
All right, Kevin. Gary, you look like you wanted to say something. Go ahead.
Oh no, I can go. Yeah, sure. To be honest with you, the funniest
Smacking
thing
them
is
lips.
that it's so funny that I swear, Shaun, remember I kept saying in the beginning of the year, I don't know which one of you said this, but I kept saying before like the season was coming into fruition here that there's like you guys kept saying to me, I kept saying there's no quarterback, right? Kid, you have no quarterback, then if you say you have 3 quarterbacks, you got none. And then Shaun, I just want a healthy competition between all the guys.
Yeah,
Whoever gets picked best gets to be the one. Shaun, that you didn't get that, my guy. So they just basically just said, Brock Purdy, you're the man, and Trey Lance, you're just gonna automatically be 2, maybe 3. After all, I guess you guys don't care about the picks now that you guys gave up to give. The thing I hate about the situation for Trey Lance, to be so honest, is like if you really look at it, the guy really hasn't really got a real chance, guys. Like he hasn't really got a full opportunity to like show his work. So that's why I'm not even trying to knock the man's game just yet. It's just really fun poking the bear, because you guys have so many quarterbacks in the roster that get injured, and that now we're handing the reins to Brock Purdy, which I'm not hating. Obviously, like I think you guys mentioned earlier, he's kind of obviously gonna be the starter, and he delivers these. So when you go win like 7 games in a row from being the last pick, and doing so good, the only way you really lose a game is because you hurt your arm all the way or whatever, and you can barely throw in a football game. And they're really, I don't know if you guys seen the report, thinking Phillip Rivers can be playing in the Super Bowl if it somehow, some way beat Philly with one arm, I guess, tied behind their back. But that was just a funny ass comment to see. But to be honest with you, it just like Vaughn said, you know what? It's like kind of reminds me of like preseason basketball or any preseason, any sports. It's kind of hard to kind of take anything away, even from practices. And when I hear this, it kind of reminds me of the AI practice. We're talking about practice, not a game. Practice is like, but like you guys said, like since they haven't been taking these preseason games as serious in terms of playing full-blown starters, they actually have been taking these, which kind of sucks because you wish they'd do the opposite, where like the fans can see the games be more high valued in the preseason instead of these practices. I guess that they're saying it's being very like high level skill, and coaches are putting a lot into them when they play these joint practices. So to be honest with you, it should be a raise of an eyebrow because, like they mentioned this week, they've been all over Dak this week for his picks and interceptions. It's just not a good sign when you see your quarterback throwing interceptions already before the year even starts. It's just not a good look. Simple. It's just not a good look, just like I said in the chat. And I think that, it's nothing too really to be worried about. Obviously, if you're a fan of this team, you would hope that, Brock gets these interceptions out the way now so that, when the season rolls around, he'll be ready to go. So I guess that's a positive way to look at it. But if I was a 49er fan, I would just be like, I didn't get my QB competition fairly for my quarterback. Now the quarterback that we chose is already messing up. The quarterback that we chose now, we're also not going to choose him as a starter week. He's not going to get no playing time week 1, 2, 3, or 4, I guess. I don't know. I know they haven't unreveal the plan just yet. But let's see if he gets some time because, you know, you guys, everyone's already in shock. Like we talked to Thompson last week on our show that he was already had the same injury that Brock Purdy had, and he's already surprised that he's already here in week 1 already to go. So it's just a lot of iffy situations again at your guys' quarterback position, which you guys mentioned. We all credit to you guys. We know you guys' team is built to win a Super Bowl. Also, it's built to win a Super Bowl. You guys were on a dominant run last year towards the end until you guys ran into the Eagles. So it's just like you would hope that you come this year ready and fully loaded, and not with the same problems you guys came in last year with. Oh, is it Jimmy G? Is it Trey Lance? Now all of a sudden it's a Brock Purdy. You know what I'm saying? I just think if I was you guys, I think you guys would agree with this. It's just time to really stamp this. Obviously, they're stamping Brock Purdy, but you rather just be stamped and no ifs, ands, buts about it. But you guys know in the back of your guys' head, if Brock those 3 picks, game 1, 2 picks, they can Trey can start hearing his name, start walking a little closer to Shanahan in the huddle, you know, start walking towards that sideline to, you know, get me in there, coach. Let me get my real opportunity now. Not in the monsoon either. So let's just see. I just feel like, you know, it's just not as clear as you guys should want it to be. You know, that's all one thing I would say.
Kevin, go ahead. I'm not even going to set up a question. Just go ahead. Let's hear it.
Hey, man, if I was a Niner fan, I'd be shaking in my boots, man. You know, it's all funny games when Dak throws it. You know, all the talking heads want to talk about it, but when Brock Purdy throws it, it's like, oh, it's okay. It's Brock Purdy. I don't know, man. Like Garry said, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback. So it's definitely not a good look. I just want to go back to what Toddy said and how he was feeling. He said that Brock Purdy threw 2 interceptions to the group chat, and then a second later, I got a notification that was actually 3 interceptions. So I don't know if Toddy's giving off how he's actually feeling. I think he's shaking his boots a little bit, but it's going to be interesting to see. But then again, this is in close scrimmage, so it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. So we're going to see Brock Purdy come out week 1. Like Garry mentioned, I just want you guys to figure it out and just know who your quarterback is going to be going forward, because it's just hard for the receivers to get rhythm, the O-line, and get used to their quarterback. So hopefully Purdy can be the guy, and you guys don't have to keep doing this much longer.
Well, I actually, because Dak Prescott's name just keeps getting brought up in comparison to a Brock Purdy, saw a crazy stat this week. Kevin's not going to like hearing this stat, but I saw a crazy stat about Dak Prescott, and this was on NFL Network. And it says Dak Prescott has led the NFL starting quarterbacks in points per game in each of the last 3 seasons, and he's the only quarterback to average over 30 points per game in each of the last 3 seasons. So, I mean, he may be throwing ducks out there, but he's also scoring points. And so if Brock can do that, I think our defense will be all right if our offense is scoring over 30 points a game. Jaevon, did you want to respond to what Kevin said?
How is that even correlated?
You guys keep talking about Dak throwing picks, and you're like, oh, just like Brock's throwing picks.
No, we're just mentioning that like he's just throwing picks this week. So it's funny how, you know, they're getting, like we mentioned, like everyone's getting on him for throwing picks. So, you know, it's funny how really no one's really getting on Brock Purdy throwing on picks. I don't think you want to be bringing up Dak stats, because didn't he have like 14 interceptions last year, 15, 16? He has such a high interception rate. You don't want, you know what? It's actually good. Brock Purdy, I hope you become Dak Prescott. Got you so far.
I mean,
anyways,
has Dak Prescott's got into 1 NFC Championship game, or Kevin, has he even made it?
Don't put him up.
Okay, divisional round. I'm sorry. I wasn't sure if the Packers game, if that was the
divisional Dak.
Okay.
Divisional
exactly.
They ain't
Divisional
sniffed
Dak.
a
There you
bowl.
go.
They ain't sniffed no championships. I'm talking.
Toddy, give us your final thoughts on this.
I'm not really too worried. You know, Brock has got
Neither
to dust off the rust a little bit. I mean, we saw what he could do 7 games, 1 undefeated in the regular season. Ultimately gets to the NFC Championship, tears his UCL. We all know what happened after that. So just want to see him healthy. If Trey is the guy, then he's the guy. If Brock is the guy, then he's the guy. I'm not really too worried on who it is, but whoever it is, we need to figure it out before week 1. But I feel like it is going to be Brock Purdy. So didn't have a great day today, but that's okay. It's practice. You get these interceptions out in practice. If you don't throw them in the game, that's fine. We'll be okay.
Jalen Hurts not throwing picks in training camp, but
yeah, I saw he's like 140 passes. He's only thrown 2 picks, so he's pretty good. Not saying he's going to be Jalen Hurts, but I mean, let's try to get back to what Brock Purdy was last year. He's coming off injury.
And we got one of our first notable YouTube comments of today's episode as Kevin Dent Sr. says Brock is working back from surgery.
Hey, Kev,
He will
we
be
trying to
just
figure out
fine.
how the hell is your dad a Niner fan and you are an Eagle fan? Where did we go wrong?
It's funny. I was waiting for this topic to come up. When Shaun asked me what I was looking forward to, I was like, damn, I should have said that. So last week, bro, I had it all planned out, bro. I had my Falcons jersey. I was ready to give you guys the whole spill. So long story short, for the people that didn't tune in last week, I had a Michael Vick jersey on. Growing up, I played quarterback. So Michael Vick was my favorite guy. So I was always a Vick fan. So I was a Falcons fan. And then when we came to Philly, I became an Eagles fan. But in 2014, 17-year-old Kevin looked himself in the mirror and said, are we going to be Jets fans? Well, you know what? We're going to stay Eagles fans. We're going to support from afar. Then he went to the Steelers. And 18-year-old Kevin looked himself in the mirror and said,
okay, you shouldn't have stayed.
Absolutely
fucking
You
not.
shouldn't have stayed with
Absolutely
us,
fucking not. So
hey,
I said,
we got
you know
some
what?
rings, man.
We've been here for 2 years. You know, it's been nice. We're going to sit here and get nice and cozy. So that's how I've been a Eagles fan.
Damn. All right. See, I thought you've been rocking with them for like over a decade. The passion in your voice sometimes just feels like
2009.
there's history. Okay. 2009.
That's when Vic got there.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so yeah, it has been a long time. I'm sorry.
It's been a minute.
I'm having
But
a
yeah,
rough
no,
day
Vic
with
was
my
my
brain
guy,
today.
so-
Apparently. Okay,
I
gotcha.
refuse to be a Jets or Steelers fan, so I just stuck with the Eagles.
It's okay, Kev. You still show my Steelers love, man. Don't worry about it. You half on. You got a foot on the island.
I gotta show love, man. Tomlin's over there. I gotta show love.
You guys are just a couple of Pennsylvania pals. All right, so Kevin said that he didn't want to become a New York Jets fan. Well, a couple weeks ago, the New York Jets, they signed Quinnen Williams to a 4-year deal worth $96 million. Why is this significant? $66 million is guaranteed. It's because Quinnen Williams, in the last 3 seasons, has had 25 sacks lined up at defensive tackle, which is the most in the NFL. You look at who's second, it's the guy who's trying to get paid right now, not Nick Bosa, but Chris Jones with 24. Cameron Hayward, Gary's boy, 23.5. And formerly Kevin's guy, now a San Francisco 49er, Jaevon Hargrave, has had 23 in the last 3 seasons. So, Kevin, maybe it's not just a one-hit wonder for one season with Jaevon Hargrave. Anyways, we're talking about Quinnen Williams. And so, Kevin, I'm going to toss this back to you. What do you think about the Jets giving this deal to Quinnen Williams?
Damn, Toddy, that did not look delightful.
No. Oh, like some nasty lemonade, my guy.
But anyways, talking about
It's ice
Williams.
cold, that's why.
No. Okay.
So this now makes him the second highest paid defensive lineman. So we're saying he's better than Jeffrey Simmons, Darren Payne, Dexter Lawrence, Jaevon Hargrave, DeForest Buckner, Chris Jones, Jonathan Allen. So there's a lot of guys up there that he's getting paid above. So we're going to need him to come in and continue to do what he's been doing, like you mentioned, for the past 3 years. I don't know if I caught the number, but I think you said 26 sacks past 3 seasons.
25. So
25. So 25 sacks in past 3 seasons is really doing well. We always talked about how the Jets were always just a quarterback away. So now that they got that quarterback, we're expecting Quinnen Williams to take another jump. When Aaron Rodgers won in 2010, he was a wild card team, and the defense really carried them through. So they had a top 5 defense. So Quinnen Williams is going to have to take another step in. They have big expectations. I don't know if you guys watch Hard Knocks, but from the very opening scene, they're like, you know what? We all know we have expectations. We know we have Aiden here, so we all know what it is. Let's attack the elephant in the room.
They were bringing up Joe Namath.
Everyone's ready for it. So I'm expecting to see Quinnen Williams continue to do his thing, and I think he's going to be very well for the Jets, and I think this is great money. He's only 26 years old, so he's very, very young. And Alabama continues to keep putting out D linemen. So,
Gary?
Real quick, Kev, I want to say I'm glad at least the Niners pixie dusting and, I'm going on top of you, so it's all good. And for your dad's comment. But back to what we were saying here, you know what? Again, like you guys just mentioned, it's well-deserved, obviously, leading the league in tackles and things of that nature behind some great players who are already getting paid. Like we mentioned, my guy, Cameron Hayward, has been a vet in this league doing his thing, and Chris Jones is on the next guy to get paid. So it's really, I think, deservedly so. Again, like Kev just mentioned, it's time to put up or shut up with the Jets right now. All the eyes are turned up with them right now to make some things shake. The good thing for them is that their defense has already been looking good, with the sauce in the back over there already. So to be honest with you, they're already really, I would not be too worried about their defense. They already got a lot of they've been drafted really good on defense last few years. So I think he's in a great situation. I have no worries. I don't think that he's going to be like a one-hit wonder, I guess, or any things of that nature. Just, get the bag and not disappear off the planet Earth here. So I think he's going to be still cooking. So I think it's well-deserved for him. I think just like you mentioned, since we're talking about the Jets real quick and Hard Knocks and things of that nature, I would just say that their problems are going to be the line. I think we already they've been talking about it left and right. Just the offensive line has like Kev said, they're like one quarterback away, but they're quarterbacks and a kind of a line away, to really kind of make that to really be like hitting on all cylinders. So we're going to really see, I believe, in Aaron Rodgers. Just, we haven't made our picks just yet. I know our picks are probably coming here in a couple weeks here before the NFL season, but who's going to win the division, who's going to make the playoffs and things of that nature. But I feel like the Jets are going to have a chance, but they're going to be in some trouble just because Aaron Rodgers is great, but, he's an older quarterback now, and I want to believe in him, and because I've always been a fan of him. But at the same time, it's like Tom Brady and all these guys you've seen when they get older, they need time to throw. They need to have that 1 second. They need that pocket comfortable. We're not talking about Patrick Mahomes. We're not talking about Jalen Hurts. We're not talking about more mobile quarterbacks who can evade pass rushes with ease and still, make on-platform passes and off-platform passes. So Aaron Rodgers is, one of the originators and one of the greatest to do those things. Before Patrick Mahomes even came, he was doing these things, electrifying the world too. So it's really going to be interesting to see like if the line's really going to be a problem for the Jets. But Quinnen Williams deserves to get paid, and I think they made the right decision with that one.
Nadia, I definitely think that it's unanimous that like this is just something that the Jets had to do. But let's reframe it. Do you actually think that the Jets are legitimate contenders now after they've locked up Quinnen Williams? Because all the talk from earlier is the fact that we haven't locked up our guy. The Chiefs haven't locked up their guy. Well, the Jets have. And so does this make them legit Super Bowl contenders?
Yeah, I mean, I've said it in the past before. I don't know if this is surprising, but I think the Jets are going to win this division. I just think with them coming out, having
I think I actually already have that on the notepad.
I'm about to say, the notepad hasn't made an appearance in a while.
Last year, I've already
the Dolphins.
Yeah, like I get it. Like the Dolphins, they're stacked. They have Jalen Ramsey is going to be out for an extended period of time, so we'll see about that. Their team is obviously stacked, and they still have the possibility of adding Dalvin Cook. But the main question mark with the Dolphins is, what's Tua? Is Tua going to be healthy? Is he going to be playing?
If he is,
healthy,
then
can he play? If it's a very big if. So
who you got missing? I'm only interested, Vaughn. Who you got missing the playoffs in the division? Dolphins missing it?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. They rode on. They rode along.
The Bills
last year. They rode along last year by the grace of Skylar Thompson being their quarterback, and they somehow made the playoffs still. Obviously, their team is stacked. They have Tyreek Hill. They have two number one receivers on the team, Jalen Waddle. They could obviously add Dalvin Cook. He's been kind of, in the shadows a little bit. Mike McDaniel's one of the great young offensive coaches in this league. I think he's, he came in kind of guns blazing. I think if Tua is one of those guys that can stay healthy, he can definitely get this team to a playoff appearance. I mean, hell, they made it last year, and Tua missed tons of games. As far as the Bills go, I think, Josh Allen, obviously the cover boy of Madden, is one of the top NFL quarterbacks in this league.
That curse is coming for him.
We'll see when Von Miller is going to be coming back. I don't think he's going to be ready week one. So that pass rush is going to be, in question for the time being. James Cook. I was going to call him Lil Dalvin, but it's James Cook. He's supposed to be taking a leap this year. Obviously, they have Stephon Diggs. Dalton Kincaid is supposed to be a guy that they're looking heavy towards, and he's going to be involved heavily in the passing game with Josh Allen. As far as the Jets go, the Jets were I think they led the league in losses with one-score games. They kind of went down to the wire every single game, and it kind of just came down to, can Zach Wilson make a play? We know where that went. Can Mike White give him a – can they, for God's sake, can Mike White just give him something? Now they got Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if you guys saw Hard Knocks. You're just looking at my old coach Saleh. We're rooting for him over here. We being Niner fans.
Hell yeah.
Saleh's just in awe watching Rodgers in practice. He's like, wow, look at that throw. He's just so happy. Like
this is what it's like to have a good quarterback. He didn't even know what that was like on the Niners.
He had no idea. He said he's the best quarterback talent he's ever had coaching career ever. I mean, that's kind of hands down what it should be. I think Aaron Rodgers just filled that void that they were missing last year. The Jets were in so many games last year, and they had both offensive and defensive rookie on the exact same team. Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson. He had like 1,700 yards last year. This guy's going to be a stud. And he's now adding Aaron Rodgers to this team, who did have a down year last year, albeit you could argue I think they have the best. This is the toughest division in football, in my opinion. I just think that Aaron Rodgers just feels you're going from Zach Wilson and Mike White to Aaron Rodgers. And you guys almost made they were like literally like a play away last year from making the playoffs. I think Aaron Rodgers can get you a couple of more of those plays.
I don't know.
A couple of
My guys
extra
have been
more of
clutch
those
the last couple of years.
I mean, that's fine. Aaron Rodgers is probably definitely one of the most the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history, albeit he is, up there in age. I think the Jets the only thing that they were really missing is the quarterback. The quarterback is obviously the most, I think all of us can attest to this. Quarterback play is probably the most important position in the NFL. I mean, hell, Kevin's team, Jalen Hurts went toe-to-toe with freaking Patrick Mahomes last year. And Chris Jones said that it was the greatest quarterback performance he's ever seen in Super Bowl history ever. And now Jalen Hurts, he's the quarterback. Just the quarterback is, hell, the Steelers last year, Kenny Pickett is a guy, if Kenny Pickett makes a couple of better throws or makes a couple of better plays, the Steelers are probably in the playoffs next year. So I feel like with Aaron Rodgers and his quarterback play, just overall, we get last year was kind of a down year for him. Inserting him into this Jets team, they will be ultimately better. And I think it's good enough to put them over the top of it and winning the AFC East or AFC North.
It's the East. You had it right the first time, and I shouldn't have doubted yourself. And I can confirm on the notepad that episode 26, it's been a minute, April 24th, 2023, Jaevon said Jets are a lock to win the AFC East.
April?
So it has been documented.
April.
You said that shit back in April. You said it back in April. Like, that was probably exactly right, Kevin. But that was probably like the week that the Rodgers trade happened. And also just something else I want to mention for the notebook, just in case if Kevin and Garry did not see this. Jaevon, I know you saw it because I was tweeting at you. But Jaevon had a little start bench cut.
Oh, you put this on notebook?
Oh, it's going, bro. You see the note? You see the notebook emoji? You see the notebook emoji? It's documented. So it was start bench cut. Quinn Ewers, Texas QB, former Ohio State quarterback. Cam Rising, Utah quarterback, and JJ McCarthy, Michigan quarterback.
Didn't play it down.
And Jaevon said, start Quinn, bench JJ, cut Cam. And Kevin, you'll love this. I said, do the other two quarterbacks have 3 wins against USC like Rising? Jaevon says, Cam Rising ain't going in the first round. That's what's going on the notebook, is that Cam Rising is
we can put money on that too. We can do that.
I'm good, but I'll add it on the notebook. See what I mean? See what I mean? I make bets that I know I'm going to win.
It's so strong. First was 75. Now it's I know I'm going to win.
Hey, Shaun, you're betting on him to have a good season then this year. If he has a great season like he does, then he's going first round, right?
It's okay, bro.
I could see it. I could see it. I'll talk some shit, but I ain't going to put my money where my mouth is on that one. That's the show. But anyways, I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew that I was adding that to the notebook. As now we move on here on episode number 44 of Stats Over Politics. Time is flying by, gentlemen, as here we are at episode number 44. Let's keep it moving. Let's get to the NBA, and let's get to the Lakers, Garry and Kevin's team. So,
no,
Kevin.
Sorry, I had to.
You don't see me on the Kings jersey right now.
LeBron,
you don't see the Kings jersey right now.
Yeah,
I know you hate this player too, Shaun.
I was about to say, we see you, buddy. Jersey. That's what we see.
I like my guy. Hey, all-time 3-point leader in our franchise.
Like 3-point percentage or some shit.
Come on, man. Respect my guy.
Wait, he passed David?
Yeah, he's all-time 3-point shooter, yeah.
There's
he's actually top 3. I think he's top 3 the last 10 years behind Clay and Steph. I'm not going to lie. He's up there.
Wow.
I mean, the volume is there. Anyways, so with the Los Angeles Lakers, Anthony Davis just got a max contract extension. as he gets a 3-year extension worth $186 million, totals up to $270 million through 2028, and the annual value of $62 million is the richest annual extension in league history. So, Gary, money, dollar bills. Obviously,
song, right?
Come on. I'm white, but I'm not that white. Come on. Anyways.
No, that's what's his name intro. That's the only reason I know it. Vince McMahon's son. I think that's his intro. I'm pretty sure.
Shane McMahon.
Yeah.
Yes. And Shane McMahon is a man of the culture. He is a man of the culture. Anyways, so Anthony Davis got a massive contract extension. The question isn't should he have gotten this? I mean, I guess it could, because the thing is that Anthony Davis, obviously future Hall of Famer, but he's also, I mean, Charles Barkley calls him street clothes because apparently he's injured too much. And so signing him to an extension for the next 5 years, Gary, was this a mistake because he's an injury risk? What do you think?
That's going to land him at like, what, 33 years old, I believe. Is he 28 right now, Kev? I think he's around there. He might have, I don't think he went over 30 yet. So
Kev would know as a Laker fan.
Yeah, I would say he's around like 33, 34, probably at the end of this contract. At the end of the day, Kev knows, everyone knows in the NBA at the end of the day, everyone's getting paid. Literally, it's your next turn up. Whoever gets next turn is going to get the biggest bag. Everything's going up like we discussed with Vaughn's guy, Jaylen Brown, a couple weeks ago. So at the end of the day, like Shaun mentioned, he deserves it. Like I don't think that's no question about it. Now, locked in for that long term, Kev, it is a little bit of a head scratcher because you're like, he's been injured so much, like Shaun mentioned. But at the end of the day, I feel like it was a good move for the Lakers. They got a trade asset. Let's say if he does play really great, and then they have a superstar for the future. What the Lakers need always. They cannot. We seen when Kobe left what happened to the Lakers. We seen when left but retired. We seen before LeBron came there who the Lakers were. Even though they had a lot of young pieces building towards the future, it just wasn't feeling like the Lakers. They're the Lakers when there's a superstar on their team. So at least they know they got a superstar with his namesake for at least until 2028, and hopefully he can be healthy where those back end 3-4 years, if LeBron's not there, at least LeBron knows he has a guy till the end of his career now that he can try to get championships with. Hopefully he can stay healthy again, like you mentioned in that, because that's going to be really good for LeBron and the Lakers if he can stay healthy for this contract. But they have options now where they can maybe, when LeBron leaves, they can maybe try to get another guy with Anthony Davis, and now, they can be fast-tracked instead of, basically losing them both in a few years, and, that would have just been downhill for the Lakers if they would have lost both of their superstars and have nothing to show for it. Obviously, we know them having really minimal amount of picks because they've been going for it the last few years, so I think it's good for AD, keep trying to cement himself as one of a great big man for the Lakers and one of the great big men in this league. So I feel like it's a good franchise for him to stay with, obviously living in LA. I think overall, obviously, like I mentioned, this is a have-to situation. I just think that this is really going to open the eyes for the Lakers of who are they going to want to pair with him. If he's healthy, they're going to want to pair somebody with him. So I think that's what really I'm looking forward to see, who's going to be that next guy after LeBron retires after a few years or whenever he wants to retire, after he gets one more ring and then calls it an official GOAT debate on the rest after that. So after that six ring, Kev, we'll see what Anthony Davis is going to do. So.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Like you said, Gary, this is something they had to do. You question the injuries, you question his past. Charles Barkley calls him always dressed or street clothes. This is the Los Angeles Lakers. They pay the big names. No matter what, no matter how bad the Lakers are, they're going to have big names. This is what the Lakers do. So once LeBron does retire, Anthony Davis is going to have to carry this Lakers franchise. So that big of a name is going to have to bring in some other talent, like Gary mentioned. Gary, I don't know if you know, but he only missed one playoff game his whole career. So, yes, he misses a lot in the regular season, but when it matters, he shows up. Yes, he may be every other game, but he shows up. We saw when Anthony Davis came, he was really going crazy on the defensive end, not only the offensive end. And he was playing so well that Gary, my man to my right, thought that band was better. So
I still stand on that one, looking back at it. My one guy went to the finals. One guy got swept. He got swept. One guy got swept. One guy went to the finals. I ain't gonna lie. But real quick, Man, I just like we said, Anthony Davis. This is again. I didn't put the pressure on him. Again, I say he deserves it. Now let's real quick before I give Jaevon real quick. Let's put the pressure on the guy. You know, it's LeBron has been trying to hand you the reins. He's been trying to hand you the reins the last few years. And like Kev said, kudos to you. You only missed one playoff game. And yes, even though I might have thought Bam was having a better run last year, whatever, he still had a great playoff run, even though it was really inconsistent. If you look at it, like we all remember the one game he would do great, the one game he would do bad. Just that inconsistency can't happen with a high level. So I shouldn't even be questioning and putting Bam Adebayo's name in the same sentence as Anthony Davis, to be so honest with you.
We're all
to be honest,
but
because
Still,
it was that close.
later.
It was still
No, it
close
wasn't.
because it was pretty close. All right, whatever you got. I ain't trying to go back to that. But at the end of the day, this man needs to show up and be the man. And you know what? Even though he got outplayed by Jokic because Jokic is the best player in the league right now, he still had a pretty solid season. I think at the end of the day, he just needs to take the reins, Kev. I don't think he should be waiting till LeBron retires. Now, LeBron is trying to hand you this shit this year. Simple. Hand you the reins this year. Take over the reins and let's make some things happen so we can go out on a high note and actually have a full season. They had a full, really, after trade deadline to take that team all the way to the Western Conference Finals. Now you have a full season with a newly looked team. ARs are already locked in now for the future. So they got a nucleus here for this team to really push forward. And that's all going to be depending on this guy and how Anthony Davis shows up for these next couple years for LeBron. So hopefully he can end it strong. And he can, you know what? Even though he might already be getting his jersey retired probably because, you know, then out with the NBA, they would probably give everyone statues and jerseys if you basically do good for 1 or 2, 3 seasons, I'll be feeling like, to be honest. But he can really cement himself as one of, like, top big man, you know, if he can help get 1 or 2 more rings in a Lakers uniform, you know, that would be do wonders for his career. And all the things that they said before him, maybe, you know, I think he might have made the top 75, I believe already. I don't know. But if he did, then man, that's really it's going to be an easy stamp for him to be a Hall of Famer if he can, you know. He's probably already heading that way too. But I'm just thinking about easily starting getting into that debate of maybe top 25, maybe even that. If he can really just stay healthy, like Kev said, we keep preaching and really take the reins and become the number one guy in the Lakers uniform.
Toddy, was this the right move?
I think so. You said it was a 3-year extension, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
3-year extension, but it's on top of what he had left, so it's 5 years total.
Okay, so I'm kind of thinking of it as it's kind of. I think it'll be like 2 years left, and LeBron will probably be gone, and he'll still have 2 years left. And it's kind of just like, oh, Anthony Davis is here, and I feel like he'll probably play his contract out until LeBron is gone, in my opinion. And the Lakers will probably end up trying to move him and get whatever they can. That's what I feel like is going to happen. But as far as it now, I think it was kind of the right move to do. I feel like right now it's kind of the right move, you know, try to keep the core together. They just went to the Western Conference Finals, for God's sake. So we'll see what AD and LeBron can do. I mean, at their best, they win a championship. We saw what that looks like, albeit it was in the bubble, but it's still a championship at the end of the day. But I think going into it with this extension, you're just looking to see is the big question is obviously you guys already mentioned is can AD stay healthy? Can he give you 60 games, 65 games? I feel like that's kind of pushing it. But just, you know, him just being able to stay healthy. I mean, Kev already kind of said that he plays pretty much all of his playoff games. So I feel as long as they get to the playoffs, then they're fine. We just need, I mean, LeBron was playing hurt. We all saw that last year with, you know, the foot injury. I don't know why, you know, injuries always come out about LeBron after the fact, after they lose. But he was playing hurt with, I think, his foot was
distractions.
broken.
Distractions.
He was he was playing with a broken
More like
foot,
shaping the narrative.
We'll see.
I mean, everybody knew Toddy's just a casual, I guess.
I mean,
okay.
Everyone knew that his foot was hurt.
After the fact. So he came back and, you know, now his foot's broken, diagnosed. I'm not even going to get in there. We're talking about Anthony Davis. So, I think just this team, you know, Austin Reeves, you know, the rise of Austin Reeves, we've seen him in the playoffs, you know, him kind of coming into the zone in the offense, you know, with the addition of Anthony Davis and LeBron James. LeBron's kind of starting to take the backseat a little bit more and try to see do I really have to play 70 games every year. Let's see if we can kind of reduce those. We'll probably see a lot of load management from LeBron this upcoming season because he's 30. He'll be 39 this year. So, year 21, LeBronologist. I'm just trying to clarify that that's the year that he's actually
correct,
how many years he's been playing. So, you're just trying to get as many years with Anthony Davis and LeBron James as possible because LeBron is on the back nine of his career.
Speaking of LeBron, he confirmed last month at the ESPYs that he will officially be returning for next season. And so, Gary, I'll throw it to you first as one of two LeBronologists on this panel. Did you ever actually believe that he wasn't going to come back? Because when he just like put that little seed out there during his post-game presser, along with saying, "Oh yeah, I had a messed up foot," I saw it as a way for LeBron to take away from the Nuggets. That's why Mike Malone got upset and Mike Malone started slandering the Lakers. But I saw it as LeBron wanting to continue to control the narrative and have people talk about him all summer. He didn't have them talk about him all summer. He revealed at the ESPYs when he was getting basically a Lifetime Achievement Award for becoming the top scorer in NBA history. That's when he revealed it. And so it wasn't all summer, but it was like a month or so. And so did you actually believe?
I always think LeBron's trying to be devious, kid. Like he got this master plan that you want to. I know he wants to.
He really
no, but like,
oh my God, you guys are in denial if you think that he doesn't try to shape narrative.
No,
he
for sure
press
wants
conferences
to.
Like knowing exactly what he's going to say.
No. Let's actually just clear this up. Every player wants to try to control the narrative. Just because LeBron knows how to do it is not his fault. It's because LeBron is smart at doing it is not his fault. And Mike Malone, I don't even want to say nothing about him. He got butthurt for show after. That's why
LeBron had to talk about your old coach like that.
Mike Malone, NBA champion. Put some respect on his.
He's a champion. No, yeah, he knows he was getting butthurt. That's why LeBron had to put him on check on IG, talking all that smack. You go, I can't wait till this scene with these guys over here. All of a sudden now they want a high rise and talking on their high horse, Kev. But anyways, I believe this is a no-brainer. The Heemster was going to return no matter what. Come on now. There was no, I was thinking I should make some shirts, but, stats or politics, start putting our words and phrases on some shirts. But anyways, that's another day, another marketing plan for another day.
LeBronologist t-shirts.
Exactly. But you know what, this is obviously feel like really old news. To be honest with you, I feel like I know we obviously haven't had a chance to talk about this, but LeBron obviously was going to be locked in. I feel like he's signed under contract. I feel like I know Shaun feels like that was a way to deter the Nuggets and take the shine away from the guys who literally got swept them and literally was literally the champions. You're getting praised left and right, buddy. Don't worry. You're not going to get LeBron's praise. Sorry. You're just not. You're not LeBron. So you're not going to get as much praise as LeBron gets or hatred or however you want to look at it. So, yeah, the narrative's always going to be looked at LeBron if he loses or wins in a playoff series. They're always going to be the A block for him, as it should be, because he's one of the best players of all time, and he is the main ticket what's up, Shaun? I know you're getting irritated.
Literally just contradicted yourself within 15 seconds.
Yeah, I don't think LeBron's doing it on purpose. Like, let me just take away from the Nuggets. I think he's like, I know he's the main guy, so I'm going to talk about my future. Simple. I'm talking about my future. Yeah, I should be the main topic. I am one of the GOATs here. It's all good. Nuggets, y'all take your turn. Y'all go. Y'all swept us. Be happy. They don't even want that much light shine on them anyway. They always complain about. They were always talking about they're like the Spurs. Like they want to be low key. They want to be under the radar. So y'all got your under the radar moment. Now you want to complain about it, I guess. Anyways, I was just saying that I think LeBron, obviously with his contract situation, was going to play. Obviously, what we seen last year, left on a 40-ball Kevin when he got swept, barely missing, had to get triple team right there on the last play, getting blocked, I think, by MP3, whatever that last play was. So at the end of the day, and this man is still going. I don't know why he would want to stop. Simple, maybe just because he's just frustrating, just coming so close and losing at the end. Maybe that's what that moment was. At the end of the day, I knew LeBron was going to come back. I don't think he's retiring. At least for another 2 or 3 years, hopefully. The only way he's going to retire if he really just wants to at the end of the day. But again, like we've been mentioning, the last really feels like forever that he wants to play with his son, play with him or against him, I believe. And if he able to get there, because we know what happened with Bryson is help. So hopefully everything goes smooth for him, and prayers go up to him that he's still doing good. Bronny is still feeling healthy, and Bryce, hopefully he's healthy too as well. Both of his kids, healthy and can have a chance to make the league. And I think LeBron's. I think he's locked and loaded, and aim for that 6th ring before he heads out of here.
The crazy part about LeBron James and my own personal dynamic with this podcast is I personally love LeBron James. I love LeBron James. I do think when all is said and done that he will be the greatest of all time. Maybe that's just because I was born the year that Michael Jordan won his last championship and I didn't get to see it all firsthand, but that's my opinion. But Toddy, maybe you can relate to this, but just sometimes like the LeBronologists on this show, they're just loving him too much. And like
hate coming. I feel the Skip Bayless hate. So
well, the shit about him pushing narratives, and also about how you were saying, like,
everyone tries that, Shaun. They just can't do it. Can't do it. They don't got Rich Paul. They don't got the connections.
They don't got Rich Paul.
Before you go in on this LeBronologist stuff, it's just like the Niners. You're the logical one, and Toddy's just the one who just be going. Gary's the one who just be going. I be trying to talk.
Go ahead, Kev. Let's hear it.
I mean, like Gary said, no one was concerned that LeBron walking away. We've heard him say that he wanted to play with his kids, so no one expected him to walk away. He walked away off of 49-10, losing at the buzzer. Are you really going to walk off like that knowing you can still do it?
Yeah,
so 40-9, excuse me.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah, so no one thought he was going to leave. Gary mentioned after the trade deadline, this team was really to be one of the top teams in the West. So now they get a full year of doing it together. So I think LeBron's excited to go into this. We saw him posting little pictures of all the guys they signed in free agency. So it's going to be a good season for the Lakers, man. And us LeBronologists and all my fellow LeBronologists in the world.
There's a bunch of y'all too, scattered across the earth. I guess it's my turn now, but I was never really concerned that LeBron wasn't going to come back. I was like, if LeBron wasn't coming back, he would have made sure he's getting a farewell tour. The last year, there's going to be a farewell LeBron tour. The world's going to know about it. They're going to market it. It's going to be this big whole spiel. And LeBron's going to control the narrative of his last season. But, I feel like the Lakers just have a lot of unfinished business. Getting swept in the conference finals wasn't ideal for them. And I feel like this offseason was kind of built around LeBron. Like, there was a bunch of guys signed. Obviously they signed Gabe Vincent. Who else got signed? Not Mo Bamba. It was
Cam Reddish.
Cam Reddish. Just a bunch of these guys that were, coming to Lakers had the idea that LeBron was probably going to be coming back. Not just like, I'm going to play with the Lakers and Anthony Davis. No, I'm going to the Lakers to go play with LeBron James and contend for a title. So, I think the Lakers probably had the best offseason in the NBA this year, just based on how they kind of shaped their team and obviously re-signing Austin Reeves as well. So the Lakers are going to try and contend for another championship. Last year, I already said it again. I'll say it once more. They went to the Western Conference last year, albeit they did get swept, but they did go to the Western Conference Finals last year. Took out the defending champs.
Very true. And so real quickly, guys, I just want to get to this final NBA topic before we get to Factor Cap. As Kings, they re-signed Neemias Queta to a 2-year deal. He had been on a 2-way deal with the Kings, but it seems like he has an actual roster spot now. And so, Gary, since you're wearing the Sacktown jersey, I want to hear your reaction to this first. What do you think about the Kings bringing back Queta? Because a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the Kings signing Nerlens Noel. We already talked about how they brought back Alex Len. And so it kind of seems crowded there at the backup center spot. So what do you think?
All of a sudden.
I think it's a great. Queta's been getting better every single, I feel like, year in off season. So I think it's same year as Jaevon, I believe. So he's third year, fourth year. So he's been having some moments. He's really developing, I feel like, a touch around the rim. I think also defensively, I feel like he can be more of an impact. He's really been doing good on the Kings G League team in Stockton, I feel like. So obviously it's a 2-way deal.
G League All-Star.
Yeah, so he's going to keep doing that and also being on the Kings. So I feel like he still has a lot of potential. I feel like he still has a lot to give to us. So congratulations to him. Keep keeping it turning, keeping it being in the league. It's a hard thing to do, especially when you're a guy, like on a team that has like you said, a lot of people in that position. So he's I feel like a great guy, a great locker room guy, and so I feel like it's a good thing for the Kings just to keep him in house because keep developing our guys because under Monty McNair's reign here as a GM, we've been really good at developing and picking guys out of the draft. So I think he's one of those guys that can still be on that path and being helpful when his number is called.
Kevin, what do you think about Nemi coming back?
Oh, man, I loved it. I loved Nemi when we drafted him in the second round out of Utah State. Just watching this film, he's exactly what the Kings have needed for a long time. He's a rim defender. And to see his development, when we saw him in that first summer league, the year we were able to win a championship, and to see his development now, like Shaun mentioned, for him being an all-star. So I think he's just continuing to grow his game, and this just goes to show that maybe 100%. I would take Nemi over Nerlens, and Nerlens there isn't guaranteed. So maybe this is just a spark under Nerlens' ass. Like, hey man, I know you used to be this and you used to be that, but if you don't come in here and produce, we can let you go. So I'm happy that we're continuing to build our young guys and continue to build this depth. So I'm excited.
Hadi?
Yeah, I thought this was pretty cool signing. Neemias Queta. I think I've met him a couple of times, if I'm not mistaken. He's a really chill guy.
No big
very
deal.
tall. Very
No
tall.
big deal. I think he asked me for some tips on the post.
No, I think Kevin kind of mentioned everything, when the Kings drafted him second round out of Utah State. Thought it was a very athletic big, can kind of rim run, defend, block shots, get rebounds for you guys. A lot younger than Nerlens is too as well. So that could probably play a factor in, and we'll kind of just see, going into the summer, into training camp, we'll see if Queta can kind of, work his way into the rotation a little bit. So very solid signing for the Kings.
All right, Kev. No more music because TikTok hates us, but it's your time.
Damn,
All right, we're back at it again with Factor Cap. So I'm going to let everybody know, the audio-only listeners, this Factor Cap is going to really turn some heads. I'm feeling like two of our guys in particular are not going to be agreeing with the rest of the room, so it's going to get interesting. So make sure you guys are listening and tuned in. So for the first Factor Cap, I'm going to go to you, Shaun. Kenny Pickett will have a better season than Daniel Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Factor Cap.
Cap. Stop the cap. Kenny Pickett isn't good. He shouldn't even be an NFL starter. Daniel Jones proved to be capable.
Let him go.
That's it. I don't have much to say.
Okay, so I'll go to you next.
You just want to talk shit to me. That's it.
Factor
That
Cap,
was just purely just to talk shit because I talked shit about Niners all pod.
Wait.
That's the only reason that was. It's okay, Shaun.
I'm sorry. Do you want me to give more analysis?
Go ahead. The guy finished what? We finished off great last year. Had two-minute drives in the year to win a game. You're right on the brink of the playoffs and doing, I think we're right there. So it's okay, My Kenny Pickett talk gets to be after week 1. After the season, I get to talk my shit. I think I'm more believing my guy. So am I supposed to hop in here already? It's my turn.
No, I wanted to
Toddy
give more
yelling.
analysis. I wanted to give more analysis real quickly. Hold on. I have a lot more to say. He sucks.
Go
Go ahead, Toddy.
I knew he was going to say it. So I'm going to come to you next, Toddy. Factor Cap. Kenny Pickett will have a better season next year than Daniel Jones.
I mean, Kenny Pickett, he played, how many games did he play last year, Garry?
13.
He played 13 games, okay. So he missed like 4 games. Kenny Pickett threw like 7 touchdowns, 9 picks last year.
So you the stats. So Kenny Pickett threw for 2,404 yards in 13 games with 7 touchdowns and 9 picks compared to Daniel Jones 16, 3,205 yards with 15 touchdowns and 5 picks.
Can
John's
Daniel
shaking your
Jones
head
throw
because
more
this is
than,
his first year. All right, go ahead.
Can Daniel Jones or can Kenny Pickett throw more than 15 touchdowns? I think he can. I'm gonna say fact. I think Kenny Pickett is gonna have a better year than Daniel Jones. I think he has better weapons around him than the Giants do. I mean, the Giants kind of just have Saquon, and they pray that he doesn't get hurt.
Darren Waller online too.
That is true, but he's a big if. He's not a guy that's been able to stay healthy. But we know when Darren Waller is healthy, he's one of the top tight ends. So you're kind of banking on him to stay healthy. I still, even with Darren Waller, I still think the Steelers have better weapons than the Giants. That's just me personally. George Pickens, I think, is going to have a breakout year. They have Deontay Johnson, and obviously they have Najee Harris. So I'm hearing a lot of good things about Kenny Pickett in practice. I mean, that's just training camp time.
Picks.
I mean, no picks, but I think Kenny Pickett is going to be taking the lead. I've actually been talking to a lot of Steelers fans. They're really, really high on Kenny Pickett. He made a lot of bonehead decisions last year. There were just a bunch of terrible throws that he made, but he's a rookie. He's kind of got to iron out those details and kind of just get a little bit used to the game. This is Garry already kind of said this is Daniel Jones' third, fourth year in the league, and he's kind of just been mid the entire time. That was Kenny Pickett's first year last year, replacing Big Ben Roethlisberger, and he does have Mike Tomlin as head coach. So I feel like he's in a better situation, albeit he's in a better, tougher division. So it's going to be harder for them to make the playoffs. I think Kenny Pickett has an easier route to get to the playoffs based off of his conference. NFC is weaker than the AFC, but I think Kenny Pickett I think he'll have a better year than Daniel Jones. That's just me personally. I think just his offense is better than the Giants, so he'll end up flourishing. Now I could be wrong, and Shaun could be I told you so, the only guy. I think Kevin's kind of leaning towards Kenny Pickett as well. So I don't think Daniel Jones is that good, in my opinion, just based on what I saw last year and based on what we saw Saquon do last year. And I feel like without Saquon, he's pretty much – we saw him pretty much what they looked like without, their new head coach that they have. I'm kind of blanking on Brian Daboll, and just, Saquon was hurt. We'll kind of see what he looked like before all of those guys. So we'll see. I think Kenny Pickett's going to have a better year this year.
So before I go to you, Garry, we know you're the Steelers guy. I'm going to go ahead and answer the question. So factor cap, is Kenny Pickett going to have a better season than Daniel Jones? Hell yeah. I'm with Two Glove Kenny, because the reason we really saw this Daniel Jones emergence was for one reason and one reason only: a healthy Saquon Barkley. When Saquon Barkley was not healthy, Daniel Jones threw for 2,428 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 7 picks. So he had a lot of weapons, and Shaun mentioned he's bringing in Darren Waller, Darius Slayton. So I mean, their offensive weapons are, yeah, exactly. So the Steelers have the better wide receiver room.
From Tennessee, he could be a guy too.
He could be a guy, but I think Kenny Pickett is gonna come back and have another great season. Deontay Johnson, Darnell Washington out of Georgia. I think he's probably arguably the best tight end out of Georgia. So I think he's really going to be good. We're going to see another great season out of Najee, and I think Allen Robinson.
Gary, what was the other tight end? Sorry, Kel, I'm going to cut you off. What was the other tight end? The
Pat Fairmouth.
Pat Fairmouth.
He wrong.
Yeah, so
I got it.
And then we're going to see if Allen Robinson has anything left in the tank. So we're going to see a lot. So I've definitely got to go with Kenny Pickett on this one. So Garry, I'm going to go to you next. Factor cap. Is Kenny Pickett going to have a better season than Daniel Jones?
Oh, man. Thank you, Vaughn and Kevin, so much. I feel like I don't even got to say anything now. Like, I want to just be like copy and paste what Vaughn said and just slap it on my face real quick, because that's exactly what I was going to say. Like, man, this is pure fact, Kev. Like, I know Shaun. I know he's probably doing research right now. He's probably like, damn, did I just hop on? That's a bad take. Probably just want to talk shit about the Steelers real quick. It's all good, Shaun.
Hell no, if you want to retract,
if you want to retract after my guy's first year barely playing, go ahead.
13 games. How is that barely? 13 games. 13.
Well, like you said, he didn't get a majority. Did he get what Brock Purdy got all preseason? Did he get all that? Did he have all that? Brock Purdy was Brock Purdy not in the beginning of the year, not like in the game in the beginning of the year, but he didn't get no reps in the beginning of the year.
Brock Purdy was the third string
quarterback. My guy was literally
he was the scout team quarterback, Garry.
Literally, he got a lot of reps because y'all got so many injured players. He's been in there all the time. That's how little they trusted him for, because y'all got injured players all the time. I'm just saying, my guy's behind Mitch Trubisky.
You're digging yourself a further hole right now.
I don't need to talk about. You know what? This is clear fact. This is going to be clear fact.
Shaun, do you think Kenny Pickett's going to start?
Duh. What do you mean? Who's going to start over him?
No,
I brought up Mitch. I heard him bring up Mitch Trubisky. That's all.
No, I'm talking about last year.
Last year.
Mitch already knows he's number 2. That's obvious. Come on now. He been lost a job last year. He shouldn't even been number 1 last year. To be honest, that just irritated me already last year. That wasn't even discussion. We should give our young buck all the reps and all the bullets he needs. And I feel like, again, this is going to be his opportunity. I'm not on here sitting here like a psychopath acting like my guy's Patrick Mahomes, or, like he's not. He's going to be, to be honest, it's going to be really tough. Like you guys mentioned, we got a division with literally the Bengals, we already know with Joe Shiesty. We got Lamar coming back, which I thought we got rid of him, but he's back. We still got Deshaun Watson, which I'm not going to lie, that team is really good around him. And, I know he's coming off his whole situation, so he can wake up the league again. So I'm not going to act like here that my guy's going to kill everyone. He's the best quarterback in our division, things of that nature. But will he have a better season than Daniel freaking Jones? Oh God, it's going to be easy money right here. I don't know what you want to bet, Shaun, on this, but we can bet whatever you want to bet on this one. I don't know.
I love it.
We can talk about this on text. I'll probably call you later. You know me. I'll probably call you to see what we wanted to turn this in. Next week we'll have
is going to end. I'm gonna have a FaceTime ring immediately.
Yeah, something like that. So you guys already mentioned all my guys like Najee Harris, Deontay Johnson. We picked up Allen Robinson. I know he had a bad year last year. Hopefully we can revitalize him on our team. He's going to be like the third guy. George Pickens. I don't need to go through all the guys we mentioned. We already know the Steelers always draft great on wide receivers and offensive talent. And I didn't even put the cherry on top. Let's just be honest. We got Mike T. We got Mike Tomlin. You don't think
defensive coach?
Yes, and exactly. And he made Big Ben get better and better every year.
What is Brian Dable? An offensive coach. Got it. Great.
Okay, yeah, no problem. He can be offensive, defensive coach. He can be a special team coach for all I did we can care about. Because my guy is a Hall of Fame coach. And no matter what type of coach you think he is, he's a head coach. He makes every player feel better and be better and want to play for him. So I don't know if you want to put him in a box as a defensive coach only, but he's proven it with multiple Super Bowls that he is going to make players better on his team. That's why he is never under 500 and always has a chance to make the playoffs no matter what. So that's one thing I love about my gold-blooded franchise and top-of-the-tier franchise with 6 rings over your guys' 49ers with 5. So I just want to make sure that you guys know that my guy, Kenny Pickett's for sure 1,000% fact will have a better year. Now we'll just see how far he goes in terms of if we get to be a playoff team and with the bye, or we get to be a playoff team with the winning the division, or what we gonna see. But let's just see. Obviously, the bye is gonna be hard. I know that was wild to say. That's only because we're in the AFC, which the cakewalk over there in New York gets to be in the NFC, where basically all they gotta do is play the Eagles, basically, and that's pretty much it. That's gonna be the hardest team they're gonna play pretty much all year long is the Eagles. So I hope Daniel Jones, he better have magical numbers, because if he doesn't have magical numbers with them resigning Saquon, because we know if he would have lost Saquon, he for sure would have buckled up and would have been done probably after this year. So I'm glad they got him. They got his crutch over there for him. So I'm glad they got him over there. So at the end of the day, I just feel like my guy, he's going to come to his own. I feel like this is going to be the year. It's not right timing for me to talk my shit about him just yet, but in due time, we'll be talking about real soon. In week 1, you'll get to see it, Shaun. Oh, you're going to see it, and it's going to be.
You came with the energy, Gary. That's what I needed you to come with.
They're not going to live it down, Shaun.
Producer,
they're not going to live it down for losing week 1.
Right there.
When I text Shaun this question, I said, "This is exactly what I imagined right here."
Anyways, I can't.
One more thing.
What?
One more thing.
Go ahead.
13 games, 7 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Go ahead.
His rookie year, for sure. All right, team. His rookie year. Mid thrown in the fire.
Fucking
okay,
dog shit.
They almost made the playoffs last year.
You already counted them out, Shaun. It's all good.
Gary, Kev, I want to know what you think about Gary just saying that your division was a cakewalk, because your division had 3 playoff teams last year. The AFC North had 2.
Yeah, it was.
He says it's a cakewalk. All right, cool.
No comment.
Kev, are you really worried about the Cowboys? Kev is last
no
person
comment.
to worry about
For time purposes, producer Kevin should have to say no comment. So,
Kev, you're not worried about no one else, are you? Come on now. You're not worried about nobody.
17-0. What? Anybody? But that's another conversation for another day. So, moving forward. So, Shaun, I'm gonna go to you next. We're gonna keep the football talk going. Fact or cap? Is this the year Mike Evans' 1K streak comes to an end?
Ooh.
This is tough. I'm gonna the quarterback. It's between Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask now, and it seems like Kyle Trask is the leading candidate, because let's not forget that Kyle Trask was a 2nd-round pick a couple years ago. I'm gonna say that Kyle Trask starts, and that this is cap. This is not the year that Mike Evans' 1K streak ends. Mike Evans is a future Hall of Famer, first ballot. How long is the streak going on for? Like 9 seasons?
9 years.
He's going to get it to double digits. He's going to get it to 10. This is cap. Mike Evans' streak will not end this year. Even if it means Kyle Trask throwing him the ball on every single play, maybe sprinkling in a little bit Chris Godwin, Mike Evans' 1K streak will continue, just like Brandon Ayuk's.
Had to.
All right, Gary, I'm going to go to you next. Fact or cap? Is this the year Mike Evans' 1K streak comes to an end?
I was about to say something wild. Brandon Ayuk doesn't even get to be wide receiver 3 on my team. Anyways, fact. This is fact. I just think they're gonna have to just throw him the ball a day. I don't really know who else. Is Godwin still there? He's been injured 2 last few years. I just feel so I feel like it's gonna be pretty tough for them. they just got anyone to throw the ball to him. It's pretty much because I don't really have any faith in their quarterback situation like we already talked about. So I would hope that basically they just get to throw him all the balls all day, and hopefully, he's a big talent, a great wide receiver. So I feel like he's going to do some magical things, and they got to throw the ball to somebody. So I think he's going to be the man. He's going to be able to get this again. So hopefully he does because he's right on the edge, and that's a great achievement as a wide receiver. So that would be really cool. I don't know how many guys have really done this before, to be honest with you. So I'm pretty sure it's not that many, especially because
Jerry Rice.
Yeah, doing it for that long. Only want to do it. So, for this long. So, that's, credit to him. So, hopefully you got to think about it, too. Before, he only had time for, 3 years, 4 years? So, before, he was already doing that with whatever quarterback. They had, like, a carousel of quarterbacks before that. So, he's done it. Exactly. He's done it with the quarterbacks that are not as high level as Tom. So I feel like, and he's a veteran guy. He's still smart. I know he's been maybe a little bit. I think he was a little bit injured last year, I believe, for a couple of weeks. But overall, I feel like he's been pretty consistently been there. So I feel like Mike Evans for sure can get this. This streak will not end. So Cap.
All right, Toddy, I'm gonna go to you next. Factor Cap. This is the year Mike Evans' 1K streak comes to an end.
I'm gonna say Cap. I mean, he's played with guys like Josh McCown, Mike Glennon, Jameis Winston, Fitzmagic, baby, and obviously Tom Brady helped these last couple of years. So I mean, he's done it before with just guys that throw 30 picks in seasons. So he went 30 for 30, like Jameis Winston said. He said, "If you look at the numbers, I'm balling." So, no, I think Mike Evans, he's gonna figure out a way to scrape out 1,000 yards out of his ass because he does have. It looks pretty bad right now at the quarterback position, albeit Baker Mayfield was the number one pick a few years ago. And Kyle Trask is another guy that, just another guy pretty much. Baker Mayfield was kind of quoted in practice earlier this week and said that he's never played with a guy like Mike Evans. So this would be the best receiver that he's ever had. I think Baker's probably going to end up starting. So I think the Bucs are probably going to be one of the worst teams in the league. Kind of like a sleeper team to get Caleb Williams next year. So this could be a year that maybe would be a potential for Mike Evans to not get 1,000 yards just because of, obviously the quarterback play is not where it was with obviously having Tom Brady. But I mean, Baker also said that he's not that guy when it comes to when he asked about replacing Tom Brady. So there's obviously a dip off in quarterback play between Brady and Baker, but I feel like Mike Evans is going to figure out a way to get 1,000 yards because he's going to be the number one guy. He's going to see double coverage this, that, and the third. So I feel like he's going to be the number one option on most plays this year.
I just hope.
What were you saying, Garry?
I was going to say real quick, I just really hope Baker Mayfield is not pulling the Johnny Manziel thing that they said this week that he didn't watch no tape or something like that. I hope my guy is not pulling those number one pick party animals thing that, he did. So hopefully my guy is watching some tape.
So this one I went back and forth with. So this is the year Mike Evans' 1K streak comes to an end. Factor Cap. If he stays in a Buccaneers jersey, I'm going to say this is a fact. We talked about Kyle Trask. We talked about Baker Mayfield. Those guys really just haven't shown a lot to really get a guy of this caliber, his weapons and his touches. So there's a guy in New York just freed up $35 million. Dalvin Cook might not be going, a trade deadline move, and Mike Evans can get over here with with Aaron Rodgers. I can think him definitely getting that. So if he's outside of a Buccaneers uniform, I say this is Cap. He's going to continue his 1K streak. But if he stays with the Bucs, I think this might be a fact just due to the poor quarterbacks. So we're going to mix it up. Well, we did football, so now we're going to go basketball. So, Toddy, I'm going to come to you first because I can't wait to hear your answer. Factor Cap. Donovan Mitchell is the best shooting guard in the league.
Cap. This is Cap. I think Donovan Mitchell is probably like top 5. I think Book's the best. Either Book or Shea is the best. I'll probably have to say Devin Booker just because I'm a Devin Booker guy. My top 5 is probably what Kevin wants me to give. My top 5 shooting guards in the league. I'll say Book, Shea. Donovan's probably third.
Isn't Shea a point guard though?
Shea's a 2. He has the ball. He has the ball in his hands a lot, so people think he's a point guard. He's not a point guard. He's a 2 guard. Are we considering Paul George a 2? Probably not.
No, he's a 3.
He's a 3? Okay.
I'm picking a 4.
Shoot. Can't really think of
Anthony Edwards.
He's a 2.
Oh, and Ant's a 2 for sure. Yeah, I'll put Ant there.
Zach LaVine, Bradley Beal. I'll give you some names.
Brad. I don't think Brad's top 5 right now. He probably might be after this year, but
Sure will.
James Harden. Harden's a 1, 2. I don't know.
No, he's a 2.
So I'll say Book, Shea, Ant, or Book, Shea, Donovan, Ant. 5.
Zach.
I don't think Zach's like a combo. He doesn't really
Zach
have to.
LaVine's
He's
a
like a
2.
1 or a 2. He could be the 1 or the 2. He's
Definitely
like
a
a
2.
combo.
He's
I
definitely
don't.
a 2, brother.
I kind of consider him like positionless, to be honest with you, for Zach. I don't really see him like a 1. I don't really see him like a 2. He's just like Zach. He's a bucket getter.
All right.
I don't know. 2s. I'll throw Brad in there. I'll throw Brad in there in my 5th. So I'm gonna say best shooting guard in the league. So yeah, Cap. I think Book's the best shooting guard in the league.
All right, Gary, I will go to you next. Factor Cap. Is Donovan Mitchell the best shooting guard in the league? Factor Cap.
Kev, I should have cleared up the homework assignment, man. I thought you were talking about all time. I had my all time list ready. I was like, okay,
He was
Mike,
ready.
Jordan, Dwayne. I thought you'd bring this up because the James Harden debate from a few weeks ago, James Harden or D Wade. I thought that was about to come out today. I was gonna be like, oh, Dwayne Wade, easy. Come on now. That's not even a question right now. I don't know why that's even a question. I forgot what podcast I was on. I forgot who said it. He was like, he's been like going viral. He's been saying funny things left and right, but former NBA players. Who was it? Jeff Teague, yeah. And he was like, oh, kids want to play real quick. Kids want to play as James Harden. I'm like, bro, when I was growing up, I was trying to play like D Wade with a pump fake in the midi. Come on now, going to the rim. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just feel like it also winning matters. So that was side note. Got wrong homework assignment, but it's all good. I caught up right now. This is a cap. Donovan Mitchell is really, really close. He's right there again, knocking on the door. I feel like he's probably 2. You know, I would put him in front of Jaylen Brown. I would put him in front of Jaylen Brown.
Oh shit! I didn't say JB, but he's like a 3.
I know. I'm surprised you didn't bring him up too. I got Book as number 1 as the easy, clear cut number 1. I feel like, to be honest, I was kind of like shocked. I'm like, man, the back in the day, it's feel like the 2 spot was really deep. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, right now, it's kind of like itching. Like, man, it's not that many. Like Klay Thompson, even though he's like a lot of injury, he's still in that discussion. He could be, even though he's been injured the last few years, but he is coming off a ring 2 years ago with playing a vital role in that. I know he didn't end the year that great, but I think again, like I said, I think it's Cap. I just feel like did debook what he's done with the Suns last few years, or scoring at 70 to start off with, and just keep this team in playoff extension, being the number 1 guy. I think did they face they might have faced did they face Donovan Mitchell and them in the Jazz and maybe on these playoff runs? I feel like they might have, and they beat them on the way. The Suns, did they face the Jazz on the way for a couple years ago?
No.
They never ran to him. Okay.
But
It was the Clippers. Okay. But Donovan Mitchell, though, like he's really up there. Like, he's knocking on the door. I think it's neck and neck. I don't think it's a clear cut right there. I do feel like it's neck and neck, but I do feel like Book has him just because he's the better scorer. And people been sleeping. I feel like Book is like, he's starting to get really better at defense. He's starting to play like that, I guess, like non-liability defense where he's actually becoming a factor. And we all know Donovan Mitchell came to this league as actually like a defensive guy and has really, really dwindled from that. So I feel like if you're going to bring that into discussion too, I feel like that's going to give Book the edge, and just him being just a little better 3-point shooter. I feel like just a little better mid-range shooter, just a little better than everything else than Donovan Mitchell at the moment. So, but doesn't mean Donovan Mitchell can get there with another like great year in terms of playoff performance. I think just the playoff performance is going to have Book just a little higher, also helping his team get to the finals. I think that's the main thing. And real quick, like I said, I want to mention my top 5. I would say Donovan Mitchell's 2. I would say 3 is Jaylen Brown, and I would say 4 is Anthony Edwards. Which give it a year, and give it maybe even 1 or 2 years, he could be the number 1 guy on this list very easily, because what you guys see him doing USA is just scratching the surface right now, really showing. They had him coming off the bench the first year on some shoe politics, basically. So they got that right, thank God, because he should for sure be starting on that USA team, no doubt about it. So, and number 5, I think I'm gonna give that nod to Beal. I'm gonna get that nod to Beal, even though I know he's coming off a injury year and it's gonna be pretty tough. It's really between him and Zach right now in my head. Clay's kind of outside looking in just because he just been injured. I think that's really what Beal's obviously been injured too, but he's not coming to he's not to I think like maybe one season away from leading the league in scoring. So I think I'm gonna give Beal his flowers today on that one, and I think Zach LaVine, if he can kind of get that Chicago Bulls team just on the better, they just haven't clicked all the way for me to put him as number 5. I think Beal has just done a little bit more and a little bit more consistent for a little longer in the league right now. So I feel like that's my top 5 right there. So Donovan Mitchell, you're close, but no cigar, my guy. You're right there knocking on the door, though.
I'm going to come to you next, Shaun. Factor cap. Donovan Mitchell's the best shooting guard in the NBA.
Well, I'm 3 for 3 today. This is cap again. To me, no, he's not the best shooting guard in the NBA. I agree with Garry and Jaevon that I'm taking Devin Booker, probably number 1 right now. Number 2, Jaevon forgot about his own boy, but I'm taking Jaylen Brown second.
He's a 3. He's a 3 to me.
Okay,
what?
to you.
Come on,
to
Jason
you.
Tatum plays 3 all the time.
We have 2 3s on our team.
Third, I'm taking a healthy Bradley Beal. Then it gets tough for me between a Donovan Mitchell and an Anthony Edwards due to seeing more over a longer period of time from Donovan Mitchell, despite not having the playoff success. I'm going to put Donovan Mitchell there at 4, Anthony Edwards at 5. And so
Beal over Mitchell? It's a tough one, Shaun.
You heard me right. So, yeah.
I heard you, Roger, said that's a tough one. I just want to hear a little more information on that one right there.
I said I'm taking Bill if he's healthy.
Okay.
So, factor cap, is Donovan Mitchell the best shooting guard in the NBA? Like Garry said, it's close. So, it's a 1A, 1B. So, I'm going to give him the stamp. I'm going to say he's the best shooting guard in the NBA. We're talking about the numbers. They both averaged 29 points. Book averaged 1 more rebound, and Donovan Mitchell averaged 1 more assist. So, they're really neck to neck. And now we're going to have to see I know the guy above me, and Garry hates it when we bring this up, but he says Kevin Durant's going to be the third option. It's going to be Bill's team, but a lot of people think that KD can be the first option. So Bill might, or not Bill. So Book's going to have to take a step back, and Donovan Mitchell's the guy. Like, there's no question on that Cleveland Cavaliers besides Imani Bates. There's no question on who the guy is. You know, they're all going to go to Donovan, so Donovan's going to be the guy. So I think Garry mentioned Devin Book going over 70. This last season, Mitchell went for 70. So Donovan Mitchell can score the best of them, and he came in as a defender, and he's not really been really going in that, but he's been an offensive killer. So I'm definitely going to go with him being the best shooting guard in the NBA.
Did you see Devin Booker in the playoffs this year? Did you see him?
Who had a bigger bag to you, Kev? Who had a deeper bag?
Donovan.
Deeper bag.
Oh, as a hooper, I thought you was gonna say for sure.
Donovan's bag is nuts. Donovan's bag is nuts.
Yeah.
But he can go left, fade away, right, fade away, easy. Like Donovan's going to the rim a lot. Like that's like playing on the
perimeter. Donovan can punch it on people. Book ain't got that.
We know who can't go left.
The guy's got $300 million.
That was a shot at Brown.
Shaun, that was a great segue. Toddy, I'm gonna come to you first. Factor cap. Jaylen Brown is the best Robin in the NBA. So for the guys that don't understand what Robin is, this is the best sidekick along another star player. So I'm going to list off a lot of these Robins in the NBA.
Davis,
we have Anthony Davis, Karl Anthony Towns, Zach LaVine, Jaren Jackson, Zion Williamson, James Harden, Julius Randle.
Hold on.
Jamal Murray.
Hold on.
Zion B.I. is definitely the guy because Zion can't get on the court.
Zion not no Robin.
He can't get on the court. So as of now, he got to be Robin. He can't be Batman.
Paul George.
He's not Robin.
Paul George, Darius Garland, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton. So factor cap, Toddy, is Jaylen Brown the best Robin in the NBA?
I'm going to say no because he doesn't have a championship. I think the best Robin is probably Anthony Davis. He has a championship. So, I'm going to go with Anthony Davis as the best Robin. I think Jaylen Brown is up there for sure. He's been to the finals. All NBA team, multiple All-Stars. Signed the richest contract in NBA history a couple of weeks ago. I think he definitely is going to end up becoming the best Robin because I feel like the Celtics they're always in contention of getting to the Eastern Conference Championship, getting to the finals. I've wasted so much energy just screaming about Kevin, about Jaylen Brown and Shaun, so I'm just not going to waste any energy today. Kevin will always post something in the group chat just get me fired up like early in the morning, like 7 a.m., 8 a.m. Like
I'm
and
always
I'll just
catching
say like
up.
some crazy. I'll say some crazy stuff. Like I won't even say it in the cup. Like, damn, I'm disappointed in you. So I'm just like, you know what? Kevin's trying to clip baby. He's trying to get me to go on TikTok. I'm gonna say a cap. I think Anthony Davis is the best for Robin. That's what
Okay, Toddy, I'm surprised with you, man. You showed up to me today. So, Shaun, I'll come to you next. Fact or cap? Is Jaylen Brown the best Robin in the NBA?
So initially, I kind of thought about it, and I was like, the man just got paid over $300 million. He must be pretty up there.
It's gotta be bad.
But then, as Jaevon said, I mean, I'm taking an Anthony Davis over him. I'm taking a Kevin Durant over him
I was
because
about to
thinking
say,
like
what are we doing?
Devin
Thank
Booker.
you, Shaun.
If Devin Booker's the one, I'm
I don't
taking
even
Kevin
see
Durant
Kevin,
over
like,
him.
Hey, hold on. Time out. Kevin
Jump
Durant
in, go
is not
ahead.
a Robin. Kevin Durant is not a Robin. Zion Williamson is not a Robin. Like these guys aren't Robins. Like Kevin Durant is.
I mean, technically, there are Robins.
No, he's not. Like he's
Kevin Durant's
Batman.
definitely a Robin.
He's
Are you gonna pick one? You want Book? All right, I'm not gonna. I'll say
There are
mine.
two Batmans. Like Kevin, and like the Eagles, how there's three Batmans. There could be multiple Batmans on a team. Like Kevin Durant's
This
a
ain't the
Batman.
Eagles,
All right,
man.
you're 1B, whatever you want to say.
Kevin Durant's a Batman. Let's just get that. Like Zion Williamson, he's a Batman. Like let's just Kevin named like a couple of Batmans on that list that he said that are Robins, which is kind of insane. So I feel like he should have just there should be a little bit of difference. Let's just say like number 2 on a team because
That's what it is.
what
Robin,
Robin
that's what
is.
it is.
There are
What are you
definitely
talking
there are
about?
definitely some Batmans in that list that he gave. So I'm just
Yeah,
I
but
just
they're
thought that
number
was
2 on their
pretty
team.
All right, Shaun, back to you.
Kevin Durant.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry.
So yeah, regardless of what everyone else's opinions are, Kevin Durant to me is a Robin. Anthony Davis is a Robin. So I even Jamal Murray, I might take a Jamal Murray over a Jaylen Brown as well. Paul George, when healthy, it's always a when
Sabonis.
healthy. Sabonis, I mean, at first I thought that this was a fact
love you,
until I
Sabonis.
realized that this is probably the biggest cap of them all, even bigger than Kenny Pickett. So 4 for me today. It's all cap. I should go put on a hat because it's nonstop cap.
All right, Garry, I'm coming to you next. Fact or cap? Is Jaylen Brown the best Robin in the NBA?
You know, Jaylen Brown got his money. All love to him, man. But this is pure cap. Like, oh my god! Like I was thinking, thank God Shaun said something because I was pick who you want to pick. You want to pick Devin Booker as one, okay? Then KD's 2. You want to pick KD as one, all right? Book's 2. No matter what, Suns have the best Robin on their team. Point blank. Period. Ain't no question about it. Ain't no talk about it. Literally, Jaylen Brown ain't even in the discussion when you're talking about KD and you're talking about Devin Booker right now. We literally just put Jaylen Brown like 4th or 3rd. Y'all put, I think one of them I put him 3rd. Y'all put him on 4th or something like that as the best 2 guard. So how the hell is he going to even be the best? How is he going to be the best Robin if he's not even the best 2 guard just yet over Devin Booker, who's in the same exact position as him? So. He's the second best player on the team, right? Who is the first or second best player, Shaun? Vaughn?
It's not a Robin. It's like
is he first or best?
Kevin Durant's
player?
on the team and Devin Booker is also on the team.
There is a ranking
Batman.
on every single team.
Batman.
There is a
argue that Bradley Beal could be a Batman, but he's really like it's just because Kevin
he'll
Durant
be the best Robin
and Devin Booker are also on the team and they're also very good at what they do. So
it don't
Kevin
matter
Durant
at the end of the day.
I'm just gonna say that right now.
Okay, you taking McRobin as disrespect. I don't think Kevin Durant should take disrespect if someone says Book is as good as him right now. I don't think he should take that as disrespect to think Devin Booker's playing on the MVP type level these last few years. So I don't think Kevin Durant should take that as disrespect as being the second best player on the team. Or if he wants to be the first place, then Book. I don't think he's gonna be taking a knock that KD is the best player on the team and he's a second best player. So I just feel like the Suns, no matter what, have this award locked up, Kev, as the best Robin, second best player, best 2 duos in the league. I just feel like the Suns probably have that. Again, Anthony Davis, I just can't give it to you, my guy, just because the injury history, just not being available too much the last few years. I just can't give that to you. I'm thinking about Robin as well in my category here, Kev. I also feel like that player should be able to hold down the fort when that player is gone. So I feel like when Jason Tatum was gone, I don't feel like Jaylen Brown's really holding down the fort all the way as much as he could compared to a Devin Booker or compared to a Kevin Durant, whoever you want to put that as a number 2 option on that Celtics team. Again, you could say again like Anthony Edwards can be, or Karl Anthony Towns, I guess you want to say. Karl Anthony Towns can be again that number 2, or like Shaun said, mentioned Paul George. I feel like when healthy, he's also on that level as well. And also one more guy, we're not actually saying that. I don't think they got mentioned that I feel like I should mention right here. Gleaning a little bit, Shaun, more closer. Mr. Kyrie Irving, who just also is obviously the number 2 on his team, and when healthy, is a baller.
I ignored him on purpose. Jaylen Brown's better. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
I guess overall impact, I guess you give it to the defensive end because the defensive end. But in terms of just like, again, if you want to say Luka's out tonight, Kyrie, be a Batman. You're a Robin at the moment, but act like a Batman. Act like the number 1. That guy can get you dubs. That guy can put up points. That guy can win you games in this league. So I feel like he's in the discussion too over Jaylen Brown, just in my opinion. Even though Jaylen Brown might be a better player, Shaun, overall, maybe at the moment, it is kind of like neck and neck just because Kyrie got so many other things involved in his equation. But if we're just terms of like take the best player out and brought now number 2 best player, you get to be the number 1. Suns number 1, and I wouldn't sleep on that boy Kyrie out there.
Kevin, real quickly, I want to jump in before you give your answer because Garry just brought up a great point that I have to ask my boy Vaughn about. Kyrie Irving versus Jaylen Brown. Who's better?
Right now, it has to be Jaylen Brown.
Your 2 favorites. Jaylen Brown? Right.
It has to be Jaylen Brown. But Kyrie is my all-time. You guys know this from back in the day. Kyrie's my favorite basketball player ever. So.
Damn right, and I'm sorry that you might have seen my visual reaction there. It was reading.
I just wish that they all could have stayed together. They were on the same team at one point in time, by the way.
Marcellus is wilding and out now for our audio-only listeners. Cousin Marcellus says Levine, one of the best Robins.
DeMar's number 1? I thought DeMar might ship his ass out.
Marcellus, I would love to get some of what you're smoking on because it's probably pretty good. Go ahead, Kevin.
So, is Jaylen Brown the best Robin in the NBA? Factor cap. When I made my decision, I came on here. I didn't want to go back and forth because I know you guys were going to say, "Oh, LeBron could be the Robin," and I didn't want to get into the Dallas Mavericks. I just didn't want to get into it. I didn't want to go with all the back and forth. So, with my best Robin in the NBA, I'm going to go Jamal Murray. We've seen Jamal Murray being a baller, complete baller. Played with the MVP, and the MVP doesn't even like to score. So he's like, go ahead, Jamal. Go do your thing. We saw Jamal kill D'Angelo Russell up and down that court for 4 games in a row. And then whoever the opposing point guard is, Jamal Murray came every game and lined him up. And now we're saying that he could be an all-star next year. So we're only going to see Jamal Murray get better. This is his second run, and this was really his stamp, because everyone said it was the bubble. Everyone gives you bubble jokes every now and then. But Jamal Murray, I think, could be the best Robin in the NBA. So I'm definitely going to go with this is Cap. I'm going to go with Jamal Murray as the best Robin in the NBA. What's going on, Garry?
This might be a hot take, but I don't care. I'll take Jamal Murray right now over Jaylen Brown. Book it. Simple. I don't know if that's hot.
As a 2?
As the 2, I'll take it. I'll take him because what Jamal Murray did in the playoffs, I know Jaylen Brown to help him get to the finals. He had big games last year versus the Warriors. He had big games all playoff run. I'm not going to doubt that. I don't want to act like, be a prisoner of this year and this season of, them buckling up against the Heat. But Jamal Murray, that boy did a lot to a lot of teams this year, especially in fourth quarters. Man, I know he torched the Lakers in the fourth quarter, every fourth quarter in that pick and roll, like you mentioned.
Make a left lane layup.
Exactly. He was the clutch guy, and Jokic, obviously best player in the league right now, and everything like that. But you could tell he could close it, but he was more than happy to let Jamal Murray finish those games. So I think that's a big part of the equation. I'm really mad at myself for not even mentioning it when I was first. That was one of the first people I thought of when Vaughn was talking when we started this. So just wanted to make sure I gave Jamal Murray his love too.
I feel like the real question is Kevin Durant. Kevin, for your TikTok clip, is Kevin Durant a Robin? That's really he is now.
He is now.
To you, he might be. Who's the third? Who's the
Batman?
The butler. The butler. He's the butler.
Devin
According to Shaun.
Everybody else. It's Devin Booker's show.
Okay.
All right, y'all. Well, that's going to do it for
Shaun.
episode number 44 of Stats Over Politics. Just want to remind everyone that Kenny Pickett is garbage. And make sure to give us a like on YouTube. Enjoy the show. Hit subscribe to get notifications when we go live. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Stats Over Politics and on Twitter at Stats or Politics. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on all podcast platforms. If you're enjoying the show, give us 5 stars. We'd really appreciate it, as you have been tuned into episode number 44 of Stats Over Politics. For Jaevon, Toddy, Kevin Dent, the Kenny Pickett lover, Garry Singh, I am Shaun Holko. We appreciate you all for tuning in. We'll catch you in a couple days on our regularly scheduled day, Monday. See you then here on Stats Over Politics.
Eagles play
We're
this
all
weekend.
Kenny Pickett lovers.
Make sure you pick it out. Fly.
Bye.